I've played World of Warcraft for a long time. I've seen the Lich King fall, I've seen the Legion crumble. I've even played How to Train Your Dragon. Nope, wrong game. Dragonflight. But one version I've never played or made it anywhere near max level is WoW Classic. And with Season of Discovery, what better time to start than now? So join me as I attempt to take a character all the way from level 1 to level 60 for the first time in World of Warcraft Classic, Season of Discovery. I've decided to play Horde this time around. I fancy a change from my usual Alliance side, and well, only Horde can be the class I'm going to play. And that is a powerful wielder of nature, shamans. We call ourselves Antijax, and our journey is about to unfold. Now, I do have access to guides and add-ons, however, for this particular journey, we're not going to be using them. We're going to be playing blind. That means no rune guides, no quest routing. However, we will use Questy, which allows us to see roughly where we need to go on the map. And like every MMO and every version of World of Warcraft, you start off your humble beginnings by killing boars. And here is where I notice a massive XP buff currently going on. It's called Discovery's Delight, and right now it gives you a massive 150% experience and 300% gold increase from quests. So while rarely knowing what order to quest in Classic, I think this is going to be both a blessing and a curse to me. After wiping out boars, we go to our Shaman Trainer, and here is where we get our first look at a rune. It's an enchant on your chest that gives you the ability Overload. So naturally, we want to get this done and test out what this is all about. Questing in the Valley of Trials is really therapeutic. We just stand looking at apples, and we're tasked with kindly encouraging peon workers to continue doing their jobs. As we kill scorpions, we loot something called a Diadic icon. I believe this will be used in obtaining our first rune. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, myself included, runes are like an enchantment, separate from, well, enchants that give you abilities and effects. Things like Overload, which is Shaman's Mastery in later expansions as an effect in Classic, a way to spice things up. When I get poisoned from the Scorpion, I notice we start building something called Inspiration on our buffs, so I guess this quest wants us to suffer. After finishing off some quests in the area, and we're already level 5, definitely noticing that XP increase right about now, we right click and we learn the relic. This gives us our first ever rune, Overload. This basically means our spells have a chance to hit again at a bit less damage or healing. A great thing to have, and well, I test it out straight away, and we're just like a machine gun of lightning bolts right now. After finishing off most of the quests in the Valley of Trials, as a shaman we have to get our totems. These allow us to use different type of spells, things like air, earth, fire and water, and power us up. After we complete it, I read the quest text and it says, as small as it may seem, you will come to find that size does not matter, and that even the smallest of things can outlast many others. Yeah. Whilst confirmed, size doesn't matter. Let's move swiftly on. After learning our spells and getting our first Earth Totem and completing all the tasks that our town wanted us to do, it's time to wave goodbye to our home. We leave our little village, the Valley of Trials, and a whole world awaits Antijax the Shaman, and we depart our little village in search of adventure. As we leave the safe walls of our valley, we can see what looks to be a little fishing town in the distance, made up of trolls. I also had a message from someone called Kartaf, who asked me to help him out with a rune. I said of course I will, but I wanted to grab all the quests in the area first. We head to the Centaur outpost that have made a home here in Durotar. He asked me to click on him, so I do. And a spirit dies. This also gave me a rune, Ancestral Guidance, that we can put on our legs. This converts 20% of our damage into healing, and 2 runes already at level 8? Not bad. A poor level 15 priest shows up just after we've done him, and Kartaf tells him,
I was waiting for like 30 minutes.
And laughs menacingly. Now let me take you over to the Echo Isles, where the trolls have been run out of their original home. Here we have some of the classic quests I've heard so much about, things like looting 8 crawler mucus and 4 Durotar tiger furs. But first we have to slay all the trolls, and it was a long road. I even teamed up with Jabroni. Me and him become a troll killing machine team together, and it wasn't long before we managed to bring all of them down. Well, that's what I thought. As I swim far, far away, I still haven't realised I missed one. So back to slaughtering the whole tiger, crab and crab people population once more to get all 4 of our furs. After killing some more mobs, we level up to level 10 already, and this is where we can make a choice on our specialisation. Restoration, a healing spec? Nah, not for me. Enhancement, a dual-wielding physical attacker? Very, very tempting. But nah, we're going elemental, a hard-hitting caster, and this is going to be our path. It then eventually dawnts on me the mistake I've made, and I travel all the way back to the village to get one more troll, after close to an hour. In the end, we finally completed all of our tasks, and there is no better feeling than having plenty of quests to turn in. After turning them all in, we gain a full level 2, and I think I'm starting to outlevel this area already, but I'm just enjoying the journey, so we continue. Our next town on our journey is Razor Hill, a place where we can do some tasks for our fellow orcs, but most importantly, learn some new spells and professions. I've decided I'm going to be a miner and an engineer. Engineer will help us in world PvP later on, as I'm sure we're going to come across some of them scum alliances. I spent a bit more time questing, and as I'm roaming the plains of Durotar, I come across a galvanic totem, just randomly placed, and this is definitely something new. So I click it, and it gives us a galvanic icon. If we kill an enemy with lightning bolt 10 times, we'll get a new rune. So I get to work questing and killing mobs. And randomly my friend Forks on his mage Toasty appears. He's around the same level as me too, and says,
"Look who we have here."
I'm confused to who it is at first, then I realise who it is. So naturally the first thing I can do is to take the mick out of his level, then challenge him to a duel. I must show him my power already. Our Earthsharks does over half of his health, and we can just kick practically every one of his casts. So we demolish him easily, and dominance has been asserted. For now. So I enter a Kultiris base. They've seized the castle and we need to take down the lieutenant. My damage is really good, so I've not had many problems yet. Until now. Both the lieutenant and 2 mobs are on me, but we somehow managed to take him down. Then I go out of mana, but I have a plan. Earthbind and run. Oh shit, another one. I'm fully human and I don't want to die like this. Then the lieutenant spawns once more as I'm trying to loot him, but my inventory's full and we gotta make a break for it. Now I have to delete something in my bag, run back to his body, loot him, and I'm just pulling like every mob with no mana, running up and down. The next 10 minutes are me running away as I've got 8 stacks of my inspiration too. And it looks like it's a buff, so if I die, I probably lose my progress. There's a hunter here too, but he's not helping me. But I'm also getting hit through walls and levels, and, well, I die. Our first death. Damn. I eventually make it to the top of the castle, and I loot a letter, but it was definitely not worth it. A bit later on, while I'm trying to get Fizzle's Claw, I make the grave error of jumping down, which leads to me pulling everything and dying once more. When I go back to my body, I see a brave warrior appear, and surely me and him together can take down this camp of burning blade orcs. Well, that's what I thought, but he charges straight into the middle of them all, pulls everything, and dies. I make a break for it, running for my dear life, but I get shadow bolted through a mountain. Yup, through a mountain. So I die once more. Maybe 3rd time's the charm. As we are getting food, I see another warrior come, who joins our group, and we take down Fizzle and all the mobs surrounding him, and we get ourselves a pretty sweet shield too. I also looted a chest, and I didn't know this, but we can see other people's runes. I presume that's what this scroll is for, so we leave it for other mages to find on their journey. And our little group disbands. Down here was also a gold mine for mining, quite literally, and I found that time started to pass me by. As if I saw one of these little yellow circles on my map, I just had to go for it. And I'm sure in the end it'll all come in really handy. I finally got around as well to killing 10 mobs with lightning bolt, and now we are fully inspired, meaning we can see what ability this rune gives us. And it gives us shield mastery, which looks absolutely insane, so I try and put the shield rune on my shield, but it doesn't work. So for now, we're going to keep overload over the tanking rune. Now, let me take you to Skull Rock, a place where I was determined to kill a mob here for a quest item he drops. So let me talk you through how many times I died in this cave. Not once. Nope. Not twice. That's death number 3. Also, the run is a little bit of a mission too. So I finally make it to Gazus, I think he's called. He's level 14 and he's got a 14 Void Walker. The fight starts off well, but his Void Walker just kills us. Death number 4. So I go to try him again. I'm way too stubborn to be defeated by this orc. I pull him again this time with full mana, totem set up, I pop Ancestral Guidance, I'm doing great damage, bringing him to half, but the spell pushback is destroying me. And well, it's been that long, the mobs have now all respawned in the cave. I type to my friend, this quest, come help. 5 deaths, 30 minutes, this guy has to die. So my friend comes to help, and well, he's having a lot of difficulties even getting to me. So I offer to go and help him, but I've been here this long, Gazos has now swapped places. This guy is taunting me. I didn't even realise this at the time, and I thought he was just another orc. So I jumped down, and well, you can guess what happens. Yep, they beat down on me, taking me out once more, and time for another corpse run. But after this, we're finally a two-man team, ready to take down this stupid orc. We attack him, and we finally kill him. And all that for a Eye of Burning Shadows, a quest item, but it was so worth it. Exhausted, relieved, happy, all these emotions are over me right now for killing a goddamn level 14 orc. Forks then asked me to help him with a rune too. He needs my heat. Well, flame shot to be precise. So we head to a little hut where a crab person is frozen in a block of ice, and well, we need to heat it up. But my flame shock and his abilities don't seem to sync very well. We have a little talk about how we will line up our spells, and after a little while, we heat it up to 4 stacks. The crab dies, and we get another rune ourselves. Our orc now spends a little bit of time in the village, smelting and doing our professions. And before we even reach Orgrimmar, our mining is nearly maxed out, so that's really good too. We're also level 14 at the moment. I'm pretty sure I'm now massively over leveled for this area, so it's about time we start venturing forward. In order to gain access to Fire Nova, we need to do another shaman quest. This one is called Call to Fire. Now these quests slowly start getting a bit more longer to do. First we take our first steps onto the barren lands of the Barrens, tongue twister. One of my favourite zones, and nostalgia is always incredibly high every time I quest here. We head to Groldon Farm where we now have to do a little bit of running around. I decide to start killing zebras though, to build up inspiration, to find out what rune I earned from the crab person we burned alive earlier. So after taking down 10 zebras with Earth Shock, we learn Molten Blast, a glove rune. And let's see what this thing does. I attack a Plane Strider, and it's a tornado of fire. It looks incredible. I'm really impressed with this spell. Back to the Call of Fire quest. It has us venturing up a mountain in Durotar, and we can see our home from the mountain, and we've already come so far. We need to collect 2 regents for the fire totem, one in the Barrens and one here in Durotar. In Dustwind Cave, we can kill Burning Blade cultists to grab our regent pouch. Then we need to head all the way back to the Barrens to kill Quillboars in order to get a fire tar. And while doing all this, we also hit level 15. Only 10 more levels till our first raid. We finally get the ingredients and we make it all the way back to the mountain where we have to defeat a fire elemental. And honestly, I think our lack of learning spells and gear is starting to show here. We nearly died to this level 12 elemental, but we just about pull through and take him down. And now for yet another final cross-country trek to turn in Call of Fire and obtain our fire totem. While I'm in the Barrens, I make sure to grab the Crossroads flight path to make travelling around this massive world a little bit easier. And now we fly to the main city, Orgrimmar. Realizing I'm level 15 without even doing a quest outside of Durotar, we now need to start thinking about moving on. We're also roughly the perfect level for our first dungeon. I team up with a priest called Comfride to start our dungeon group. We head back to the dreaded Skull Rock, and he shares with me all the quests from Undercity and Thunderbluff, meaning we don't have to travel around the world for them. We spend a bit of time forming the group and doing the earlier quest chains, and we're ready to go. Well, we would be, but Toxics and the Warrior, who are our tanks and healer, are still doing their quest chain, so we have to wait a little bit. Our Warlock then says he's bored, and he starts clearing the whole dungeon anyways, so me and the others start helping him with trogs. Eventually, we're all in a dungeon group together, and it's pretty easy. We managed to do the quests and level up to about 17, nearly 18, before even turning any of them in. We snag a couple of green items too, increasing our power, and we're nearly at that beautiful level of 25. I then took a small break because I had to do some Cataclysm raids, but now something really cool happens as I come back on. First I head to Undercity. Now, in the main cities, if you type want to buy Portal, most often or not you get an instant invite from someone. Now, I don't have much money, if any, at all, but if the mages know you're new, then they sometimes give you free portals, making navigating this huge world much easier. So I get him to portal me to Thunderbluff. Then I decide to really push my luck, and I ask for a second portal to Undercity. This is just so I can hand in all my quests from Ragefire Chasm, and this nice mage comes to me and ports me for free. I call him a legend, and I say he saved my little legs, and this has saved me a massive amount of time. While handing in the quests in Undercity, and getting as lost as I possibly can trying to find Sylvanas, my friend Shadows invites me to a group. He's level 37 and tells me,
We are off to go get you a new rune.
Now, I'm all for finding new runes and abilities, so I happily oblige. He tells me we need to run through Silverpine and then into Hillsbrad, so he's following me and we start our journey for a new rune. As we're running, he tells me how I'm going to go kill some gnolls at level 18. Luckily, I've got him here too to help. He then tells me,
Then you gotta take lava damage.
so we also have to jump in lava. Fantastic. I make my way to Hillsbrad and then to Tarren Mill unscathed. Now I make a big error here. I don't get the flight path, and I have to take a break quickly too, as I'm still raiding on Cataclysm. So I log off for a bit to do that. When I arrive back on, unfortunately my friend isn't around to help me, so with all the information I have to kill gnolls on a farm somewhere south, we set off on our own. Now, I'm a pretty low level for this area. Mobs just kill me. I keep respawning and I try run as south as I can, but I don't make it very far each time before I'm eaten alive by bears. I find what seems to be a place resembling an old farm, and here I see gnolls, and a lot of them. So naturally I run right into the middle of it all, and I die. So I decide I need help, and I call for help in general. Another shaman by the name of Deadbolt is on this quest too, but we're both super low levels, so we don't stand a chance on our own. We need someone else, so I spend a bit of time whispering people in the area, calling out for help, and then a really nice druid called Turkey offers to come and help us. We all meet up, and we're ready to take down a level 27 gnoll as if it's a raid boss, which for Turek, it's not too much of a problem. We managed to take down the shaman, and I'm expecting to loot a rune, and wait, nothing? Have I been lied to? Took all the way from one side of Azeroth for nothing? Maybe it's a lower chance to drop. So Turek says,
Let's kill more shamans.
so we carefully move across the field and we pull strategically so we don't die. Me and Deadbolt are practically dead weight here, so we just spam heal our druid friend. We kill a couple more shamans, and this time a Khajiit icon does in fact drop. In order to get this ability, we do in fact need to take lava damage 5 times. So we thank our fellow heroes and we hearthstone out of here. I also have an insane amount of copper, so I quickly leveled my mining up a little bit more too. Now, when I was on Cataclysm, one of my friends noticed I've started season a discovery, and he sent me up a care package containing of 50 gold and some potions. Thank you, Pi. But I feel nasty using them to kind of cheese my way through and not having to worry for a bit. So instead of letting it all go to waste, I decide I'll just buy some 12 slot bags, then the rest of it, every penny, will go on just increasing my professions. So I buy some Mage Weave bags that seem rather cheap at 38 silver each. I then head to Ragefire Chasm, and here we can take lava damage and we build up inspiration. We nearly die, but I managed to get the 4 stacks and leave the lava without perishing. We leave the instance and we learn our Khajiit icon that gives us none other than Lava Burst. This spell is guaranteed a critical hit with Flame Shock on, and it's extremely iconic to shamans, Wrath of the Lich King onwards. And that journey for this ability was well worth it. It's been a pretty long time since I've trained too, so we head to the shaman trainer and damn, I am missing a lot of spells. So I learned them all. After handing in a quest to Thrall, we reached level 19, so the following day I begin my journey once more, and here is how our gear is. A lot of greens, and I made myself some engineering goggles too. I leveled my engineering all the way up to level 150, the max I can for my current level, and my mining is at 124. I didn't want to show you the pain that I had with me just stood there crafting for an eternity and running back and forth for 2 hours to the auction house and anvil, but trust me, I suffered. This means I spent the majority of the gold I received earlier, and we're down to about 8 gold left. With being nearly level 20 and not even having quested outside of Dorotar, it's time for a new zone and new dungeons. We arrive back at the Crossroads, probably my favourite town, and probably one of the favourite towns of most people, on the Horde side. The Barrens is a massive zone with a lot of quests, but it also has a really good dungeon here with plenty of quests too, Wailing Caverns. I encounter a level 60 Troll Mage, and now is the perfect time to try and get away with getting another free portal. We snag a portal to Thunderbluff, and this means we can grab some more dungeon quests as they're scattered all over Azeroth. After heading to Thunderbluff, then all the way back to Ratchet, we can collect a pre-quest called Intact Raptor Horns, where we need to slaughter practically the entire population of raptors to try and get a single horn. I also have to go back and forth to different oases, which has me roaming the barren lands. As I'm doing this, I walk right into the middle of a war between the Centaur and some Horde soldiers. I just try and pass, but as we get close, they kill the Horde, and I am ganged up on and slaughtered, showcasing the harsh world of WoW, where death can arrive at any moment. While we're practically killing every raptor we find, our group is starting to form nicely. Now Brutal Bank says he has found a rare spawn that roams the Barrens. They drop a really nice quest. However, there's more than one and they're all like level 25, meaning we are underleveled. But if we can tactically isolate the one that drops the item, we might be able to bring it down. After all, we have a healer and a tank and 2 DPS. I thought Coleman the healer was coming with me, but he seems to have gone off in a separate location. These are going to be tough to take down. So we pull to try and isolate, then the warrior AoE taunts everything, and well, he dies. We then run around kiting the ads, but this is way too brutal and I die too. Our healer is MIA still, so Forks asks him to help out with the elites. He then says,
You are inside?
and Forks says, no, look at the map. He then replies with,
I go.
So shortly after, the warrior decides to pull a raptor, then kite it straight into the elites, and well, he dies again, and I'm not sure we can kill these. Coleman, our healer, runs over, and I say, don't attack them. He then says,
I will tank it.
pulls everything, and dies. Then says,
OMG, who pull it?
yeah, we've not even started this dungeon yet. Our tank then leaves, I leave, and well, that's the end of that group. However, shortly after I find someone looking for a DPS, and I join the group. And look who else has joined the group. Yep, Coleman. And well, it's time to head to Wailing Caverns, a massive dungeon with plenty of quests, bosses and loot. My group has already cleared a lot of trash towards a dungeon, so it's smooth sailing on the elites until we get there. Now the quests here range from very easy, just killing things, to super RNG, like getting 20 Deviate hides. It doesn't start off well with our tank dying quite easily because he's got a lot of grey gear, but that soon changes. We manage to kill quite a lot of bosses and trash pretty easily, and we take down the turtle boss who drops a white shield. Being the kind Samaritan I am, even though we looted it, I trade it to the tank to try and help him survive this dungeon. In here I'm also getting a crap ton of XP. We're already level 20, nearly 21, and even though Coleman's antics a little earlier was questionable, he's doing okay at keeping us all alive. He then tells us,
I must go WC.
as the tank dies once more, but we then continue for a little bit without him. In fact, it was quite a while, and the leader says,
Druid is taking a big it seems.
and we ding level 21. We are flying through. Some more time passes, and Coleman still isn't back, but we sort of make it through without any deaths. I end up dying, but then Coleman finally comes back, and JXD asks him,
Did you take a nice caca?
now, these druid mobs are a pain in the arse. They put you to sleep, and I completely forgot that Tremor Totem negates this. I also see Goodmood, the shaman, is using a spell called Shamanistic Rage, which makes you take less damage and restores mana. He tells me where to get it, and we can just buy it from the main town. That is actually insane, so we definitely know what we have to do after too. So this dungeon is a long one, so dying and wiping really sucks. We managed to avoid anything like that until this room. We managed to aggro everything. Our tank dies, then our shaman and rogue. Coleman is completely tapped of mana, but he levels up. Perhaps we can survive? No. He gets put to sleep. I don't realise I can tremor it, and I die. Meaning, we all wipe, and then we have to spend a long time running back to the dungeon, and then back to where we eventually was. Eventually we make it to Verdan the Ever-Living, and here we can see our lava burst putting in work, hitting super hard. We kill him, and a nice shield drops, a big upgrade for us. We are now nearly level 22 here as well, and we still have one boss left to kill. You then have to escort the world's slowest Tauren to a chamber, and here we can try and stop our night elf friend from having bad dreams. Even after clearing out every single raptor in this dungeon, I only have 5 out of the 20 Deviate hides. Ugh. Just before we kill the last boss, we ding level 22. The warrior's patience with Coleman is completely gone, and he says,
Can you heal? Instead of jumping.
and Coleman just replies with a smiley face. We then take on Mutinous the Devourer, and we take him out. My damage with Lava Burst is insanely high, and I end up practically tanking him the whole time, and he drops a ring, a massive upgrade. We all need, and I get lucky, and I win it with a high 93 roll, and our gear is starting to increase by quite a lot now. With all that done, we bid our group farewell. I only managed to complete 3 quests, but they will give us a lot of experience. As soon as I left, my friend Forks invites me to another group as he wants to do it, and I'm like, sure, I can finish off the quest that I didn't do. We're about to join, and look who joins us again. Yep, Coleman the Druid. I'm needing to grab a 99-year-old port that's just outside of this dungeon from a goblin, but as I'm on my own, I die. And after all my deaths, my armor is broken. Coleman puts in the party chat that
I must repair items and buy water.
and he takes Reg Sickness, giving him a 10-minute debuff that makes you super weak. The warrior is super confused about this, and so is the leader, and they are going in on poor Coleman for his choice of actions. Then Coleman's like, alright, and goes AFK. The leader and his friend leave, and I don't even get to grab the port. I spent a bit of time now handing in my already completed quest for experience. I then form a new group with my friend Forks and some other adventurers that are a much higher level than my old group. We then blast through the dungeon. I even got my first set of shoulder pads, and now we're looking like a proper adventurer. We level up to 23, nearly 24 from this next one, and the XP gain is just massive. We completed this so much quicker than the first time around, and after doing this dungeon twice, we still only have 13 hides. What the Blizzard. I decided, you know what, I ain't doing this a third time. I abandoned the quest and finally want to move on from Wailing Caverns. Considering the only questing I've done is Dorotar, my own shaman quests, and some dungeons, we're already at a really good level. After running around the world once more to hand in all of my Wailing Caverns quests, we're approaching level 25, where the phase 1 content lies, or shall we say, our first raid. But before we do that, I want to introduce you to one of the worst quests in WoW for a shaman, or in fact, for anyone if you was able to do it. Now the difficulty of this quest isn't hard, it's just it requires a lot. And I mean a lot of travelling. Blizzard knew this, so they gave Shaman's Ghost Wolf at level 20, allowing you to move faster in the open world. The quest I'm talking about is of course none other than Call of Water. So I'm going to walk you through this quest as quickly as I can. But this does not take into account the amount of running, portals, and cross-country you have to do. Let's begin. But first, while I was flying through the plains of Mulgore, coming up to Thunderbluff with the sky gleaming, I was in awe at the sheer size and beauty of the world. Something in later versions of the game was lost to me, and I really came to understanding, even with XP buffs, I'm on a journey. Okay, back to Call of Water. We need to head right to the bottom of the Barrens, and I'm in Thunderbluff with no flight plan. I died from jumping off a mountain that I was sure I would survive. Then we take Res Sickness. Then we have to cross the entirety of Mulgore on foot to arrive at Camp Naraho. Probably butchered that name. And we can grab a flight path, something we definitely need later on, but you can probably guess that I didn't grab it again. Then we have to run all the way south to speak to this douchebag Brine, who asked us to fill up an empty brown water skin from the pool down below. I mean, why can't you just walk there and do it yourself? Whatever. After doing this, she then wants us to go to the other side of the world, Eastern Kingdoms, Tara Mill in fact, to fill it up again at that well. So an eternity later, when we finally arrive at Undercity, do you remember when I went and got the Lava Burst rune earlier on and forgot to get the flight plan? Yep. Would have came in handy right about now. So we have to fly to Silver Pine Forest and then make our way to Hillsbrad once more on foot. Here I encountered 2 Alliance players slaughtering a fellow Horde member, and at my level the natural instinct comes in. I'm a hero of the Horde and I choose to run away. Sorry buddy, I for a second wanted to help him out, but he died. And seeing their red levels, I decided my life is worth more. But don't worry, as I grow in power, the Alliance will suffer. I will make sure of it. So we arrive at Tara Mill, and we fill up the flask once more. Can you guess where we hand it in? Yep. Back at the bottom of the Barrens. So we then travel all the way back to Kalimdor, and at the Flight Master, I still haven't realised I have not got the flight path for the camp. So after a massive run south from the crossroads, once more, we arrive back at Brine, and at this point, I just want to lava burst her in the head. She now wants us to fill another blue water skin at Ashenvale, a place I've never been. We do level up to 25 here, allowing us to take on my first raid, but I'm determined to finish off this goddamn quest before I continue. So 20 minutes later, I arrive in Ashenvale, and what awaits me at this beautiful zone with great music and a good vibe? Yeah, a skull level rogue who just one-shots me with ambush, and my blood pressure is rising. Much later, I make it to the well, where we fill it up once more. Well, we would, but I then die to all the mobs there, and have to corpse run. And you would think, okay Antijax, you've done a lot, that's the end of this quest, right? Wrong. After going back to Brine, after travelling here, there and everywhere, she now wants us to go to Island Waterseer near Ratchet. That's not too bad now, as I've got some flight paths, so only a little bit more running and we complete this. But then this little shithead tells me, okay, go and cross the world again and go back to Silver Pine Forest. No, I'm not kidding. So an eternity later, we make it to Silver Pine Forest once more. We defeat a corrupted water elemental and hand in the quests. Surely we speak to the water elemental and he gives us a water totem, right? Right? No. Back to the Barrens we go. But at least this is the final journey we have to make. With no Hearthstone either, I make the long journey home. Finally speaking to Island Waterseer and all that for a water totem and healing stream that heals for about 4. At this point, I've suffered so much, I decide to jump in the water in front of her and drown while she watches. How's that for a water quest? On the plus side, I sold the pattern I got earlier from Wailing Cabins for 30 gold, so I'm feeling the ups and the downs of this classic SOD experience, I must say. Now it's time for our first raid of Season of Discovery, as Blizzard released this game with a level cap. Each level cap brought a new raid and new experiences. At 25, it's Black Fathom Deeps, a dungeon that's been revamped. Now I've got no idea what to expect going into this. We've got a full group and a max level shaman. I don't know tactics or anything, so we make our way in and I'm immediately shocked by the change. While the dungeon looks the same as I know, there's a boss, a water elemental, stood on the platform that I fell down too many times to count. Forks, my friend, or Toasty told me, don't die in bosses as they give you a massive amount of experience. So I'm nervous as I don't know what will happen. So we pull the first boss and I'm blasting away. I'm getting hit by a tornado or frostbolts. And for some reason in my little peanut brain, I don't think to move out of the AoE. And I die on the first boss. And I'm also the only person to die on this boss. Mechanically, it looks kinda easy, but why did I not move out of the tornado? A cloak drops with a massive 6 intellect, so I need on that and I pass on some tank shoulders. And out of everyone that needs, we win both items. What the hell is my luck right now? Probably just used up all of my rolls though. We put on the flowing scarf and we continue deep into the raid. I also get a quest shed with me too, so that's pretty nice. The second boss is a turtle, although he's got a little bit bigger than the last time I've seen him. Once again, I'm going into this fight blind, but I really don't want to die again, as I want to see how much XP you get for killing these. We pulled the boss and flame shots are stacked and I start lava bursting. He shoots off these little orbs on the ground and I decide I probably shouldn't stand on these, although I do, and once again, I nearly die. I'm not focusing on damage that much right now, I'm just focusing on actually surviving. It's not long before we bring down the oversized turtle, and he drops a pretty awesome clanweave tunic. This would be a huge upgrade for us. However, we lose this to an enhancement shaman, Onkelcroc. Now I know Classic has weird stat distributions and stuff, but surely an enhancement doesn't need too much intellect at a low level, right? It's got 3 agility, but his chest has 5. So at this moment, I'm growing skeptical of this Tauren, and I will soon be proven right. The next boss is Lady Soroves, a Naga, but she's dying so fast. I'm speaking to the enhancement too to educate myself a little bit better on how stats and specs work in Classic, but he's not really giving me much to go with. And wow, you get 8k experience per boss. It's a massive amount, and I can see why people are still doing this. Nothing good drops for us, so we continue. We arrive in a room full of spectral eggs, and a ghostly Murloc boss, Guileheist, probably butchered that, stands awaiting. Now I hope I don't die again here. His HP is disappearing, and I'm thinking, this is pretty easy, what was I worried about? But then the boss starts healing, and a shit ton of Murlocs start charging around, and I'm dodging them for my dear life. As much as I'm nervous, this is pretty cool. Somebody does die, but we nuke the boss down once more. Then he does the Murloc dance once again, and I managed to find a little safe spot behind the eggs that I took cover at. No Murlocs decided to bother me, and I was stood there thinking I'm so proud that I finally might have figured out a boss. We then take down the oversized Murloc, and he drops nothing for us. But our good old friend Onkelcroc is eating good right now. Needed on practically everything. You don't actually have much downtime between bosses as you take on Lorgus Jet next. This guy is a wannabe shaman who summons totems everywhere. Now it doesn't take a rocket science to know totems probably equal bad, so I kill them as quick as I can, especially when I see a skull marker appear on a lightning shield one. So we deal with the totems and we bring down Lorgus Jet, who drops a really good mace for our fellow enhancement shaman Onkelcroc, who of course needs it and wins it as it's an upgrade, and I'm happy for him. Don't worry, I'm going somewhere with this. He also needs on my intellect shoulders that drops from a mob and takes him away from me, the little shit. But I guess it's still good for his healing and damage. Anyhow, we arrive at what I was told the hardest boss in this instant, Twilight Lord Kelrus. He casts shadowy chains, and if you don't kick it, it does a lot of damage and you can die. Now we've got 4 shamans and 2 rogues, so surely kick shouldn't be an issue, right? Well, no, they are. 2 people die. We bring the boss pretty low before he goes into a big rage and is practically immune to kicks, so you have to burn him. He becomes a massive orc, but with a level 60 shaman helping, it's not much of an issue. Although I do go to 1% and I'm spamming healing wave, but I die. But a epic freaking staff drops, Rod of the Ancient Sleepwalker, and oh my god, look at these stats, incredible. And look who needs on this staff, the enhancement shaman. I then say to him, let me guess, an enhancement weapon too? And he replies with,
Sure is.
Thankfully, a Boomkin wins it, although he did roll the second highest, and the leader is happy it went to the Boomy and not the enhancement too. Damn, what a huge weapon. It stings we didn't win it, but this gives me hope going forward. We arrive at the last boss of Kumai, where the gist of this fight is to just basically stand behind him from what I've gathered to dodge several of his breath attacks. We burn him down very quickly, making sure not to perish this time, and he drops something that's like a quest item. I'm not sure what it does or what it rewards, but I need it nonetheless. We don't win it, but we do win a lot of crap blues we can't use, so they'll be vended for a good old coin. And that's it, our first raid of Season of Discovery done. The hardest part was trying to escape the raid with all the elite mobs, but my hero B-Twits came to my rescue and pulled everything, saving me from certain death. I went and handed in all the quests all over Azeroth, and also purchased Shamanistic Rage and Ultimate Recall books from this vendor in Orgrimmar that my good old shaman friend told me about back in Wailing Caverns, giving me 2 really good shaman spells. In total from this raid we went to level 27 too. Now I was going to end the video here, but a few more good things happen I want to talk about. While I'm venturing in Ashenvale, I come across an Alliance player and they all seem to be going towards a certain direction, so I follow like a rabid wolf. He's too scared to fight me. I also noticed there's some high levels here too, so I opt not to take the chance. I speak to this quartermaster and we can buy a rune of burn. The druid, then being a dum-dum, attacks me and the guards obliterate him. This rune costs a pretty penny at 1 gold 60, but we get burn, allowing our flame shock to AoE, gain a 6-second duration, do 100% more damage, and give us a spell power buff. Holy moly, we are powering up. While in Ashenvale, it's prime time to test out my new runes with some little PvP. As I'm questing, I encounter a night elf called Agathon. Now, me being one to love PvP, I sneak up on him in my Ghost Wolf and I cast a Flame Shock. Before he can react, I lava burst him as he's trying to run away, and we just one-shot the poor night elf. Me wanting to get revenge for my fallen comrade back at Hillsbrad, I decide to go into Ghost Wolf and hide behind a tree to take out Agathon once more. He takes the bait thinking I've left the area and meets another grisly end. We roar at him, showcasing our power, and now, once more, I pretend to run away until he releases his spirit. Then we do a U-turn and we run back. I hide behind the tree again for a while, but Agathon doesn't resurrect for a long time. However, he then does. But he's nowhere to be seen until I find him shadow melding in the tree. And now I toy with my prey. I pretend like I don't know he's there, looking around to see where he could be, and I know he's panicking deep inside. So I drop a Fire Nova totem, and the little shit drops a freezing trap on me and aspects of the cheaters away. Oh, it's on now. I go into Ghost Wolf and I chase him down. He tries his good old shadow meld technique, but I'm not letting him trap me this time. He then stands there and accepts his fate. We wave goodbye to him and we start casting a meatball to his face, and now we will leave the Night Elf be, as he's not a worthy opponent for me. About an hour passes now and I'm doing some more quests in Ashenvale while I try and find one more Black Fathom Deeps raids as it's been reset. And look who it is! Not learning the lesson. You can't just run around this place freely. I decide he's got to pay once more, so we just cast a lava burst and kill him again. For the finale of this video, we do one more Black Fathom Deep raids. I'm level 28 and I really want to try and snag some good loot. We once again have a level 60 helping us out. I'm not sure why they run this, I guess they're just kind people. I'm practically healing these bosses as we don't have many healers in this group, and thanks to my amazing healing skills and most certainly not getting thrown off the edge, we kill the first boss and nothing good for us drops. We then proceed once more to the big turtle, and somebody's made me a goblin somehow, but I don't even have casting animations, it looks super weird. We take on the big turtle once more and nobody picks up aggro of this crab, so he just kills me and I lose my goblin outfit, but I do thankfully get combat res, so we thankfully don't lose the experience from this boss. And this boss drops Clanweave Tunic again, a really nice chest that would be an upgrade, and we actually win this, and Antijax is looking good. Lady Severus takes a little while to kill, but we do bring her down, and some nice shoulder pads drop with 10 intellect plus 5 spirit. So I rolled need once more, and what do you know, we win them too. And the mass we greeded, we also win. Okay, I most definitely have used up my luck again, but hopefully not. On the Murloc boss, a couple of people died to the Shadow Murlocs as I just stand in the back spamming healing waves for the life of me. Is even our level 60 mage is taking a bit of damage too, but the boss dies, and this is where I see my first increases damage and healing spell effect. This helmet is massive, like such a big item, but I've already won a few items, so we don't get lucky and win this. The Totem boss Locust Jet dies without much issues too. He then drops a chest piece and bracers, even more amazing spellcaster loot, but the Druid wins another piece of gear and the level 43 Elemental Shaman wins the chest piece too. Some of these items are that good that even higher levels are using them. On the second to last boss, the Twilight Lord, I made sure nobody died by healing like a pro. Loot wise, really good stuff for a Warlock, but nothing for good old Antijax. Which brings us to the final boss. No deaths, we bring him down, and once again the Pearl drops, and a decent enough chest piece that has a little more intellect than ours, but we don't win it or the Pearl. We leave the raid at nearly level 30 with a good few upgrades to our gear too. The Kind Rogue offers me the chest piece, which gives me some more armor, intellect and stamina, which is very kind of him. And this is how our hero looks right now. Level 29 with some powerful shoulders and a cloak and a chest piece from a raid. We also have 2 rings providing us with good intellect and some excellent runes too. Next time we're going to journey through the war zone of Stranglethorn Vale and try and conquer the Raid of Gnomeregan in our adventure from zero to hero on Season of Discovery. Our journey begins once more at the good old level of 29. While last time we did complete the raid, this gave us a few good items too, so we can level up a little bit easier. To start off our adventure today, we're jumping into a dungeon, Razorfang Kraal, which has us travelling all the way once again to the south of the Barrens, a run I'm also familiar with. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Call of Water. Now this is where I encounter my first ever tank shaman, and my god, are they beefy things. They take barely any damage, dish out some serious damage, and we're just absolutely demolishing every single creature inside of this place. With rested XP stacked up, it's not long at all before we hit that sweet halfway point of vanilla World of Warcraft, level 30, but things are only going to get more fun from here on out. Our druid then disconnects, or goes AFK, either way he's running into a wall, so I guess it's just the 4 of us from here on out. We kill the boss and he drops a mace, and I'm thinking, damn, look at all these stats. Then I realise it's a healing weapon after I've already clicked need. Yeah, not too good. I let the group know that I didn't see it was a healing weapon. Fast forward a little bit, the druid goes offline. I also win the healing mace, which is a huge upgrade for our fellow priest. He puts a
I'm so mad at you face.
Yeah, I feel terrible. Also, my camera would bug out in this dungeon and I would be practically underwater, and I'm pretty sure I think my game broke his karma. I told the priest to trade me as I'll happily give it to him as his weapon sucks. And as it's classic, I can't trade him this mace. I type in the chat, oh, that's just raids, and I did a oopsie. Moving on. We clear the whole dungeon as a 4-man group. Granted, it took us a little while due to Power Beer being MIA. Then, after escorting the world's slowest goblin through the trenches with raging boars coming at us from all directions. Like seriously, who made these escort quests walk so slow?
Time is money, friend.
We complete the dungeon and we got some solid XP for it. We all say thank yous, and I say poor Power Beer. Gone, but never forgotten. And that's the end of our dungeon. I now try to head to Thousand Needles and I try and make the lift, but I fail. Bobby Cultic X, the rogue we was just with in the dungeon, laughs at us and says,
Why didn't you jump?
well, I don't want to die because I still haven't bought Reincarnation or probably any of my recent spells. So after him laughing, it's fight time. He opens with a cheap shot and I send a flame shock and start trying to run away. I then throw a big iron bomb, but it misses, and I'm trying my hardest to get off a heal, but the rogue Bobby destroys me. He lets out a laugh and then says,
Bye bye, mate.
and runs off into the distance, and we part ways. I grab the flight path here as I've learnt my lesson, and I make sure I can try and move around this huge open world as freely and as conveniently as possible. Once again, buying a portal to Undercity cost me 1 gold a time. Rip-offs, I tell you. This allows us to hand in all of our dungeon quests. We also speak to the engineering guy, who gives us a quest to start hunting down goblin or gnome engineering, but a bit more on that later on. Whilst in Eastern Kingdoms, it's a great time to start questing again, this time in the cozy zone of Hillsbrad Foothills, and mainly because I want to kill some Alliance too. This place is such a relaxing zone. You kill mountain lions for their blood, that they don't seem to have in their body because, well, it never drops. However, they do drop something special. My first world binds when equipped blue item. This allows us to be able to sell it, and it's got fire damage and frost damage, so I'm hoping it's worth a lot to someone, probably a mage. Also, danger does loom around every corner, as I think I've culled the mountain lion population. I'm set up upon by a pack of them, and I die. It's quite a long run usually from the only graveyard that seems to exist in this place, Taran Mill, so avoiding death is something something I must do. I end up questing for a little while longer, and I come across Charlotte, a troll hunter, and we need to take down elites for a sword. Now the two of us together and my lava burst rune means these elites are practically no problem. However, we do mass pull, and I type to Charlotte to run, but she's a war-hardened veteran, and she stays and fights and multiple elites raining down upon us. Once again, we call the entire dwarf population, which isn't a bad thing because nobody likes dwarves, and the sword drops. Me and Charlotte then part ways, and I'm just really having an enjoyable morning questing in this place. Now one of these quests has us go to the Arathi Highlands and kill ogres, but this would turn out to be a blessing too. While killing these ogres, something drops for us called a ogre lightning rod that says to plant it in soft soil. This has to be something to do with a rune. So I spend a bit of time searching the local area as I think it should be close, and on top of the mountain is a soft soil. I plant the lightning rod and then I start attacking it. Then I start attacking it with lightning and it starts to get charged. After 10 attacks, a 37 elite pops up and damn, we're in trouble. It hurts like hell and it resists practically all of our spells. So my plan is to slowly whittle it down and kite it. I do spend ages kiting like a boss and healing, but eventually he just randomly dies. I presume someone went past and killed him, so I yell thanks. Now we loot him and we get ourselves Rune of Power. This gives us Power Surge, allowing Flame Shock and Riptide to have 5% chance of Lava Burst being an instant cast, and resetting the cooldown on Chain Lightning, which is super strong, and it's nice to go with all our other runes too. And we're slowly fleshing out our Shaman. Now while I'm in the cave clearing out these ogres for the remainder of my quests, we level up to 32. I try and do some mining as well, but this little shithead alliance doesn't seem to like me taking his ore and proceeds to one-shot me, giving me a very, very long corpse run. And I will one day take revenge on all of you alliance, I swear it, no mercy will be given. By the time I get back to my body, the whole cave has respawned, and the ogres absolutely decimate me once more, killing me again, all because of that douche paladin. I let Toasty, my friend, know I'm gonna be a while, as I'm not having the best of times currently. I spend a bit more time leveling, questing, and just starting to relax, until I hunger for my revenge on Alliance and see blood. I see a level 36 paladin running, so I hunt him down like a rabid animal, and I start attacking him, but he just keeps running along. He then must see my level, because he turns around and engages in combat with me. On his Hand of Justice, I land a beautiful stun too, outplaying him, and we both go toe to toe. And Kaldor cheats, lay on hands, fully healing him, and then he defeats me, and we die. And we have yet another insanely long corpse run. Things don't get any better for me as I make my way to Dalaran. Yep, Dalaran is here for some reason. I pull a level 40 mob. I then spend, and I'm not even kidding, the next 4 to 5 minutes slowly trying to kill him, using my engineering items, missing practically every spell, but we do take him down, and Antijax is powerful, and killing him gives us a massive 56 copper. In other words, nothing. A big fat nothing. I then get bombarded by these little shits, elementals, and they hurt. They beat down on me and kill me very quickly. I now check how far we've got to run, and yep, Tavern Mill once again. This is turning into a questing death montage. So I make it back, and my friend Forks also messages me, and it seems like he's having a really bad time too. So while I try my best to not aggro anything else, I end up pulling a lot again, and one of them earth elementals, thanks to my totem. The hunter, Charlotte, we helped earlier, sees me struggling and just runs away. Thanks, Charlotte. I remember that. I just barely survived this onslaught on practically 1 HP, and I don't know what's going on. I felt the raw shamanistic power lately, and now I feel like a cold breeze in the wind. Toasty then messaged me again saying,
"Oh, I'm so close to throwing my PC out the window."
And I think he's struggling with a rune or something. So it's nice to know this harsh world isn't just testing me lately. With many deaths under my belt, and not wanting to run all the way back from the graveyard once again, I play it as carefully as I can, not pulling many mobs, going one by one. That is until my totems once again aggro the elementals, and they beat the living shit out of me once more, and crush me beneath their feet. Right, I've had enough. We can now leave them elementals and the town of death, as I'm going to call it from now on, behind us. We've just got one more person to slay before we can go and hand in a bunch of quests. So naturally, I overpull and die once again. A druid called Face has teamed up with me for a different quest and decides to offer me no help. So back to the graveyard we go. With Hillsbrad now being the zone of death in my case, I decide to finish up my quests, hand most of them in, and we hit level 33 and a little bit towards half. Me and the druid do team up to do some quests, and as As we approach Growler's Cave, I encounter a wild dwarf hunter. For all the death I've seen a lion's cause, he must die. So I flame shock, followed by a lava burst and a lightning bolt means this little dwarf dies, and that's one less thing in the world of Warcraft. To finish off this Hillsbrad section, there's a quest that has you go behind enemy lines to summon elite. Now, I had no idea where to turn this in, and a guard is beating down on me. By the time I locate it, can you guess what happens? Yeah, I die again. A quick run back, we turn it in, and I think I'm ready to leave this zone behind me now. After going back to Undercity and selling some stuff on the auction house, I go to see how much that blue rare item is that I got, and to my shock it's going for around 100 gold. Now, there is no way this sells, but if it does, we're raking it in, and mount will be acquired. I spent a little bit more time on my engineering, getting it up to 225. Then I went and learnt most of my spells from the Shaman class trainer, and picked up the quest Call to Air to give us the last totem we need. This is not as brutal as Call of Water. It just relies on us going to the Thousand Needles, speaking to this Tauren, and turning the quest. Job well done. But it's finally time to enter the war zone, the place most people fear when leveling, where death awaits you anytime, any place by anyone. Yes, I'm talking about the one, the only Stranglethorn Vale, the jungle. Here we will be spending a little bit of time as I want to try and complete as many quests in this zone as I possibly can and get the full STV experience. And it's not long before we meet our first victim, our first bloodshed in this zone. Now I won't be going easy on anybody. If you're red, you're dead. At least that's how I see it. As I'm questing through the jungle, I encounter a poor little 35 gnome, and I'm so ready to beat down on this alliance scum. I've suffered the long runs that the paladins cause me. It's time to die, Karaja. She's fighting a raptor, but I don't care. A flame shot does big damage as she counterspells my lava burst. Then she hits me with a polymorph before running away, but she falls to my flame shock, and that's another small creature eradicated from the jungle. I also realise I'm actually quite overpowered right now. With the buff given to us from Call of Air, I'm running around insanely fast, and with Flame Shock doing AoE, I can pull whole village of trolls and survive, making questing super easy for our overpowered shaman. And Karaja with balls of iron steel respawns right in front of me, so I attack her again, but she plays me and sheeps me and runs away for her dear little life. But I will never let them get away. I said they will suffer, and suffer they will. So I Ghost Wolf, and once again I start the hunt. She's running as fast as her little legs can carry her, but we gain on her. We get off one more critical hit Flame Shock, and she dies while running away again. And then I see a Warlock in Metamorphosis. He's not immune to our Bloodthirst, our Rage. As usual, a single Lava Burst Earthshock combo is enough to bring him down, and we are now on our way to becoming king of this jungle. While questing, the Gnome Warlock is still in my area, thinking he can just happily quest here and that I won't mind. So I give him a stark reminder that there is no escape from Antijax's Lava Burst of Death. I then also receive a new buff while I'm in this zone, giving us spell power, critical hits, so now with our movement speed buff on top of that, we are like a god. And I test it out instantly by one-shotting another Gnome Warlock. Then a Night Elf Hunter runs past, and we one-shot him too, and my god, I am loving this. We get a whisper from this passing Horde member who drops a
nice GG.
And I say, they must be purged, reminding them of their responsibilities as Horde. He then tells me,
nice DPS.
Yeah, I'm feeling immortal right now. I must have started to make a name for myself as people are whispering me, telling me where Alliance are located. But I do make an error. I got so comfortable with being so strong, I run straight through a troll village, pull way too many mobs, don't heal myself, and I die, losing out on my 2 precious world buffs. So that really is a blow because of how fast I was killing mobs and the Alliance. Finishing up quests and just enjoying the atmosphere of the jungle, which I'll refer to as STV from now on. I also did a Black Fathom Deeps again, and I managed to win the Trinket, giving us a huge spell power bonus as well as some spell power robes too. But I forgot to record that because I'm a silly Billy. We also loot a massive waste with plus 14 fire spell damage, giving our lava bursts even more power. I then spend an ungodly amount of time killing these crystal spine basilics for the crystal shards, and let me tell you, these don't drop. I don't know if you guys had this too, but the drop rate fell astronomically low. But as the clock struck 11 UK time, 12 server time, the whole zone goes red, and I can can see at the top of my screen, Blood Moon has 29 minutes remaining. Now I have no idea what this is, but it looks insane, and little did I know, this is where our journey in the jungle takes another twist. As I'm killing the basilics, I notice I'm getting a debuff of sorts that goes up when I kill mobs. I also check it out, and I'm hostile to my own faction too. This is a dream, I can now kill everybody. I run all the way to these altars that are placed on your map, because I want to try and figure out how this event works, and we get an item called Copper Bloody Coins. So I just get to work questing and killing the mobs and collecting up these coins. Now unfortunately the event is really short, and after coming back from a break, it's gone for now. But this is not where our Blood Moon journey ends, it's only just beginning. I'm running up this hill to quest and away from some mobs. I noticed some alliance coming too. I check them out to see if they're following me, and they're targeting me, so I guess it's game on. There's 2 of them and a warrior charges me. We then one-shot him with a lava burst proc, and the alliance mage joins in ice lancing me. We're procking lava burst like crazy, and we shoot one onto the druid and down he goes too. We then proc another instant lava burst, but we're low HP, and the mage demon flute falls to our power, and we just took out a whole assassination attempt. I let them know that that's my wrath, and they can try again in the future. I see them respawn and try and run away like little rats as demon flute polymorphs me. They're trying to recover and they go in for yet another attempt on my life, but I'm now a war-hardened PvPer. I'm not fazed by their puny attempts, and we take the warrior far away before putting him back into his grave. Demon Flu is nowhere to be seen. I knew he was a coward, so I try and look for him, but he's vanished from the area. I see a dead tiger in the distance, so I start following a trail of corpses, hoping it will lead me to this alliance deserter, but it seems he's escaped. For now. But fast forward a few minutes later, while I'm just trying to quest peacefully, I spot the mage again. He instantly spots me and makes a break for it, but we're in Ghost Wolf, we will catch him up. He tries to polymorph me, but I kick him with Earthshock. He then lands it as my lava burst hits him at the same time, and this demon must fall. If anything, this guy is a professional wizard. He disappears into thin air when I was hot on his trail. So I go back to questing once more as we're level 36 and making a really good dent into this next phase, and Demon Flu shows up once again. This guy is just a hit and run specialist, but this time he tries to fight me. Big mistake on your behalf, but I respect you finally want to end this. The battle is close, we're both using all of our abilities. He ice blocks trying to kill me, but a single lava burst and we take down this demon and we laugh at him. I do decide to chase him down quite a lot now and torture the poor mage, forcing him to constantly run in fear. But isn't that what STV is all about? The world PvP, the ganking of low levels, the constant fear of death lurking around every corner. A short while later, our quest log is looking beautiful. The best feeling you can get when you have so many quests. We had to take down some murlocs underwater for the last one, but with this buff we get, Jungle Fever, I still don't know how I got it, we managed this no problem, and now it's time to turn these bad boys in. We're level 37 currently, nearly ready for the next raid in Season of Discovery. After handing in all the quests and accepting a lot more new ones, we're even closer to 38. Somehow my friend Toasty has managed to get us both into a Gnomragon raid at level 37. Now Gnomragon is in Dunmoreau, Alliance territory, and we don't have a warlock in the group, so this is going to be a brutally long run. However, when I'm running in the Arathi Highlands, we do invite a warlock. This means hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get summoned, and Toasty says,
They just invited a warlock, praise Jesus.
Now I keep running, not holding my breath, but halfway through the wetlands, we get a beautiful summon, taking us straight to Gnomragon, and I think I'm slightly underleveled here, but if it's anything like Black Fathom Deeps, the XP might be super nice. Someone also puts down a sleeping bag, where if you go to sleep in it for 3 minutes, you get a nice little 3% experience buff, so thank you. It looks like we've got a level 60 in the group too, so this might be a bit easier than usual, but I have no clue what to expect right now. All I know is not dying is the key to getting that juicy, sweet experience. Toasty is linking me all the epics you can get from this place, and look how beautiful they are. I'm already powerful, but imagine if I get these items too. The first boss is like the dungeon one. Pretty much mobs keep coming out from the side of the tunnels, and you just avoid some poison gas cloud. Then Grubbis and Chompers spawn, and we go to town on DPS. And by that, I mean they resist nearly all of our spells, so that's fantastic. But hey, at least we are trying. The boss dies fairly easy with no deaths, and we get 25,000 experience. That is insane. A beautiful cloth belt drops, and oh god, I want it so bad. So I hit need. Naruzen, an enhancement, wins some really good attack power shoulders, and this is also key for later on. And of course, Toasty wins the belt with a 100 roll, and I always struggle to beat him for loot. The second boss of Vicious Fallout, a poisoned water elemental, is up next, and it seems like a pretty easy raid so far. The bosses really don't do much, everybody's alive, all at 100% HP, the boss then dies, and some massive boots drop. I instantly need these, and let's see if we can get lucky and beat Toasty this time. And we do, we roll a huge 91, and these boots have 10 intellect and 11 damage to our spell power, but we can't wear them until we're level 40. We're making our way through this raid, and we're running on a platform, trying my best not to fall and instantly die, until we arrive at boss number 3, the Crowd Pummeler. I get told to basically never stand in front of the boss, and looking at this platform, I can already guess you probably get knocked off. So the fight starts, and I'm just focusing on not dying, as I'm watching people get through around left, right and centre. Our damage from this group feels really good, and nobody is dying, which is always a fantastic sign. I'm even throwing out some heals to keep this going as smoothly as it can. We kill the boss and some healing braces drop, and I've got white ones. I don't even know how I still have white braces, so I need them as they buff my healing, and intellect is better than the ones I've got, and we win them as we're the only one who needed them. So far, 2 items, not bad at all. The fourth boss, the Electrocutioner, does an AoE lightning thing to you if you're far away, so you want to get hit by this once, then move close to the boss, or so I thought that's how it worked. Somebody actually finally dies here, and then another person falls too, so no experience for them, but I managed to stay alive and ding level 39, and this is where I see something called an Irradiated Robe, 1% crit, 23 spell power, and something called a power depleted chest too. This must give you like a set bonus item. So I roll need on practically everything usable, and Toasty wins the chest a little shit. That's 2 items apiece so far. This brings us to the last boss's room, where an epic fight must surely commence. But the boss is a dragon, a chicken, a squirrel, and a sheep. Yeah, okay, it looks cool though. They all need to die together as they repair themselves, so that could be an issue for a disorganized pug, but we've been executing mechanics perfectly so far, except I stand in fire and get a big debuff, and whoopsie, I nearly die. After a while, we manage to bring them all pretty low with no deaths, and we bring down the robot pack of animals. The boss immediately spawns in the middle, so I run out, but somebody's already started the encounter. Some amazing male shoulders now drop, with intellect, hit with spells, and increasing your damage by nature spells up to 17. And the enhancement shaman then rolls an 89 as I rolled a 64. That's bullshit. A male belt is then rolled out with intellect and attack power, so I roll need on it, as I've got a strategy here. We don't win any of the items, and we wipe his people. His Peter pulled the boss. The shaman already has better shoulders, but he has a crap belt. So I ask, can we trade the items? But he just ignores me completely. I then whisper like a teacher's pet into the leader's ear and tell him, can you ask him if he'll trade me because he's ignoring me? The leader says that the shaman said yes and to trade him the item. So I go to trade him and he cancels it. I am so confused. I give the leader the item then, and he does the trade for me and trades me these amazing shoulders. I call him a legend, and now I'm really happy. They look amazing too. We then start the last boss. It's actually a very simple fight. You just press a button when bombs come out, and that seems about it. Although he has several phases where he gets into new robots each time. We bring him really low, and then we take him down without a problem. And we're nearly level 40. Loot-wise, he drops a quest item, an epic gun, some cool looking cloth transmog sort of thing, and an insane trinket, along with some boots. So much loot. I roll need on the boots, and I lose them, so not a great start. I then roll on the engineering notes, and I roll 100. Yep, 100. I don't even know what they give, but I will for sure take them. I can't even start the quest until I hit level 40. So all in all, that was a very successful Gnomragon run. I don't win any other items, but I'm more than happy with that. Now it's time to hit 40 and upgrade. After a little more questing back in my hometown of STV, and the sun's setting on the jungle, I'm there killing Crocolis, and I can see many adventures flying through the world, gonna kill bosses and get their loot, and soon that'll be us too. But for now, we're still still a lonely adventurer making our way through this giant world. We ding level 40 and we get an ability called Elemental Mastery, a spell that gives us 100% crit chance and makes us even stronger. I then realise I need to learn Mail too, and see our quest item gives us a epic necklace with a huge amount of intellect and spell power, and I got a feeling we're going to have this for a long time. Our next step is back to Orgrimmar to sell all my items that I keep on hoarding. Yeah, I've got a problem, I know. We then hand in our quest to the Mad King, giving us an epic necklace, and I double checked I got the right one, and it's so beautiful. We then have a boatload of spells to learn, one of them being how to use mail armor. So I choose not to go completely broke and only learn the spells that actually benefit me right now. And now we can equip our new shoulders, and we're looking more like a shaman, I must say. I even checked out the price of a mount while I'm here, and yeah, we're not getting these anytime soon. We was close at one point, but unfortunately training has just broke me. Back to STV. I go to the Gurubushi arena, and there's also a vendor there. Here he sells items that you get for the coins you get for killing people during the event. And oh my god, look at this shield. I want it. I need it. It's gotta be mine. But it costs a total of 5 silver coins, which means we need 500 copper coins, and well, I have 19. As we leave the arena, a 49 druid challenges us to a fight and attacks us, but I'm not one to shy away. I fire off all my spells and I kill him, but I die to his dots and a cross kill as we both fall. I then decide to corpse camp him a little bit, but this was a mistake. He's nearly 10 levels higher than me, and this time he just destroys me as the blood moon begins. I then get to work straight away trying to get all these coins I'm going to need, and we've got to get 500 before we can get our beautiful shield. I also didn't realise it straight away, but when you get this second debuff, you get more blood per kill, so we get 3 rather than the 1 we was getting. I then see a massive red troll in the distance with a lot of HP, so I'm probably best avoiding him for now. I do have a fight with my own faction, and it does feel a little wrong, I must say, as I mercilessly beat down on a mage. I then picked up another fight with a rogue, well he attacks me, and he's got 2 world buffs, so he destroys me, and he also pops a healing potion too, but I want revenge. I can see he's oblivious to me coming for him. With only 2 minutes left on the clock, we really need to get him now. So while he's face tanking mobs, I run in and flame shock, insta proc a lava burst and send it straight at him. We then proc another instant lava burst, and he's still alive, tanking these really well. We proc a third, and that is night night Mr. World Buff Rogue, and we take him down, and revenge is mine. I then charge our hunter, but just as I do, blood moon ends, and I let him know I was coming for you. He then puts a sad face, and the troll lives to see another day. During this 30-minute event, we got a total of nearly 100 coins for this event too, so it's not too bad, but it's definitely going to take us a while to get the epic shield. I messaged the rogue feeling bad that I took his world buffs, and he replies,
yes.
So I say, sorry. I had to get revenge though. And he then replies with,
if you see him, warn me, please.
I don't think he realizes I'm the guy that killed him. So I say, see the shaman? And he replies with,
yes.
So I tell him, blood moon is over, so he doesn't have to be worried now. Then he says,
ooh, he was orc. True.
And I tell him, it was me. He then replies with,
XD. I got your ID. Probably gonna camp you with ally. Enjoy.
What the hell, man? I reply with, ha, you got me first, sad face, and I take it he's really pissed off. Then I realise he actually put me on ignore too. I'm sorry, Potato Gites. Now we're level 40, we can actually do a quest chain to unlock a portal to Gnomragon, as I'm sure I'm going to end up doing that raid again at some point. And it's as easy as getting a quest from Orgrimmar, Hearthstoning back to SDV, going back to Booty Bay, turn it in, and voila, we can now use a transporter to portal us there, saving us valuable time in the future. I then spent the next good few hours and days farming out blood moos. Nobody was safe from Antijax, Horde or Alliance. I would destroy them all. I also finally figured that the closer you was to the boss, the more blood you got. I went to help a warrior kill a panther for his quest item, but this world boss just killed it, so I'm sorry my friend. After many more blood moons and many deaths and kills, we finally have a lot of coins. We've got enough to buy the shield, we just gotta pop to the altar in the final time to hand it in. But I can see people fighting, and just as I'm about to get close, a human paladin one-shots me, causing me to lose stacks of my blood. Yep, if you die, you lose currency. I have 2 minutes left on the clock. I hand them in at the last second, and the event ends, and we are 7 short. Yep. 7. This means I now have to wait 3 more hours to farm out more coins, as we have a total of 4 silver and 93 copper. Every 100 copper is equivalent to 1 silver, and we need 5 silver in total. So I log back in 3 hours later, and I get back to work farming the last remaining blood. I see a tank warrior with 21 stacks of it, and he'll do as my final kill. He really can't hurt me, and I wave goodbye to him as I lava burst him to the face. After over 500 bloods farmed, we approach the vendor and hand in our remaining 9. We then use blood alchemy to convert it into our 5th silver coin, and then we can buy the Bloodstorm barrier. After countless deaths, it is mine. It's actually a great upgrade considering we don't even have a weapon, but it'll do for now. I also noticed a chest is up in the middle of the arena, so I pop down to go and loot it, and well, nobody stops us, allowing us to get the Arena Master quest, giving us a total of 5 stamina as a trinket. Not too bad, right? The only issue is, I'm using a mining pick for my weapon now, so we can't enchant it with Flame Tongue, losing out on a lot of spell power thanks to our burn rune. So I go and pick up a weapon from the auction house. I sort out my bags, and then actually, I want to do one last hurrah at Gnomeregan to try and get some gear to help us with our next step in our journey. By this point, I'm level 41.5. The raids give really good XP, so taking advantage of them every reset is a good thing. We join a group and we take our teleporter to arrive at Gnomeregan. We're then killing trash in the raid, and a helmet drops with 12 intellect. A lot better than our goggles, so I need it and win it. And that is actually a very nice upgrade, and we're looking better and better with each new piece of gear. We then had to AFK at the boss for around 20 minutes as somebody was heading to Tannerus to take a portal. So you learn something new every day. But eventually, Ocarina the Warrior joins the rest of the raid. We then take down Grubbis once more with no issues at all. Although our personal damage seems high, this group damage feels definitely a little lower than last time. We get some massive XP once more, and a really good waste drops. A nice upgrade for us once more, but we don't get lucky this time. But we'll stick with our 14 fire damage for now. Vicious Fallout is actually a slight bit of a problem for our group. Even though I have Shamanistic Rage for mana recovery, with our group's damage being a little bit low, we're really starting to get blasted by poison. Half of the raid then dies, and I'm just cleansing as much as I can. I managed to heal myself and avoid death, and get that sweet experience, and a freaking epic staff drops. But it's mainly aimed at healers, although it does have a nice amount of arcane spell power too, so maybe an arcane mage needs? Out of everyone that wins it though, it's a fire mage. Ah well, not my beef. On the crowd pummeler, can you guess what happens? If you remember earlier on, I said if you stand in front of this boss, he knocks you off the edge. Now the mage who died to every boss so far and hasn't received any experience yet, the leader says,
"Don't stand in front of the boss, or you will fly off and die."
And well, the mage gets knocked off and instantly dies and says in the chat,
"My life."
Now throughout this fight, a few more people die, and this isn't a clean run, but we're doing our very best. I also can't help but laugh at people being thrown. But yeah, we wipe once more. Not great. The tactics have now been explained. People are focused and ready to go. We're gonna bring this boss down now and claim that sweet, sweet loot. That is until the mage once again immediately dies to the first smash and gets thrown off the edge. It's hilarious. But eventually the boss falls, and loot wise, pretty crap. But he did drop a world trinket toy sort of thing. And what would you know? We win that, allowing us to grow large. Very large. Now, on the Electrocutioner boss, I die. I beg for a CR so I can get the XP. But as I res, I just get one-shotted immediately after. Ouch. There goes my experience. But with half of the raid dying once more, I'd rather the boss just die at this point. Which he does, thankfully. And then some legs and a chest piece token drop. We don't win anything once more. Not even some amazing cloth hands. And our luck is a bit in the mud right now. I check out the mage's chest piece, and he's got a really good one. So there's no harm in asking. I just say to him, your chest is really good. Mind if I get that token off you? And he says, sure, you can have it. And trades me it. Now I feel bad for laughing at all of his deaths. What a nice fellow. We arrive back at the zoo consisting of animals as bosses. And weirdly enough, we don't have too much of an issue here, although we do cut it close with the sheep dying way too early and nearly full restoring himself. The bosses die and a really good melee epic belt drops, but nothing useful for us except some token legs, which we don't win once again. We then take on the last boss immediately after as somebody was stood in the middle, causing us all to die and wipe. On the way back in, I exchanged my token for a chest piece, and oh god, it's beautiful. 12 extra spell power, Please gimme. This makes us even stronger, and I've already felt quite powerful leveling. Back to the last boss of the raid, Little Mecha Talk. This time we execute everything perfectly, and my god, his voice is so annoying. Listen to this.
More explosions!
Yeah, it's bad. We bring him down with a juicy lava burst to his face, and the loot he drops was epic. Look at this ring. Oh boy, I want it. And a chicken trinket. So I roll need on most of this gear. It is all an upgrade, and we lose the ring, but we do win the chicken and the boots, so I'm not too unhappy with that. We buy ourselves some boots and we equip them along with our attack chicken, and the 2 set actually gives us an extra 12 spell power. And here's how our hero Antijax is looking. We're level 42 with 2 raids done. We've got a 2 set of tier giving us an insane amount of stats overall, as well as a piston pendant, an epic shield we grind super hard for, and a chicken trinket. And that is where our journey comes to an end once more. Next time we're going to push it closer to max level and experience the last leveling raid before max, and I'm sure plenty more challenges await us. At a beautiful and ripe level 42, Antijax still isn't quite done with the Zone of Death, Stranglethorn Vale, with more gear to my name thanks to our Gnomragon raid. When I said I wanted to do every quest in this zone, I really meant it. Shortly after doing some morning quests, feeling super cozy just questing, we hand in a couple of them and we hit level 43 already. The good thing about me being this level and staying in Stranglethorn Vale is my profession. There's a lot of gold ore around here, and that means more money to be made, as I'm way over the level for my first mount now, but I only have 13 gold to my name, so I'm just super poor. Fast forward a few quests later, and I team up with a shaman called Leopara to take down an elite. Well, I thought I had to take down this guy, but I actually don't. I make a mistake. The mistake is looting, a very simple mechanic to loot things you kill, and I don't do it. You see all these corpses sparkling? Yeah, I sort of neglect this, and I only ever loot mobs that I need for quests, and it's about to bite me on my backside. So I take down a pack of mobs with my shaman friend, and we're very powerful now with our gear, and I say to him thank you, and we part ways. Now I come across a paladin called Hauler running into my area of questing, and I'm the type of player, if you're red, you're dead. I'm always up for a fight, especially after the massacre I inflicted during last episode, so I plot an ambush. Hauler is a paladin, and so far I haven't been able to beat a paladin. I see she's fighting some mobs, and I use elemental mastery and I attack her, nearly taking her out in just a few attacks, but she repentances me and heals up. Then she starts hitting me very hard as I aggro some mobs behind me too. She cheats once again using lay on hands like the scumbag alliance she is, and we get hit hard as we shoot off a final chain lightning as we die. But so does a paladin in a 1-for-1 kill. Then I come to the realization when I'm dead, we're gaining honor, giving us the title of Grunt, so I definitely want to increase this too. I then check my map, and that is a hell of a long run. Was it worth it? You're damn right it was. No alliance can ever live what I'm about. Alright, so do you remember when I just said that not looting will bite me back in the arse? As I'm corpse running, the shaman must loot one of the dead bodies because a blue gun appears on my screen, a world drop. Now, I was AFK auto running, so I didn't even realise for a while. But when I did, I check it out, and this gun seems amazing for hunters with its extra attack power. So I roll need, and I check my bags, and nothing's happening at all. So I message the shaman and I say to him, did you see that? And then I get a message saying that item's loot information has expired. By the way, I've still not even got back to my body. So after linking him the item, he replies with,
yes, there was an enemy dead. I looted it and it was there. I don't know.
So I ask him, did you win? And he says yes. So I basically scam myself out of a blue item because I don't loot somehow. Fantastic. As I respawn, I can see the paladin charging once again for round 2, and I definitely don't want a corpse run again. So as she's being all cocky after using repentance on me once again, I proc a lava burst, and before she can even react, I one-shot her. The shaman then tells me,
thanks for the free loot then, XD.
And I'm just like, oh shit. I also decide to bully this poor night elf hunter who doesn't know what's going on and seems to be out of mana, and well, out of options too, as I lava burst him to the face to take him out, giving him the long corpse run I had earlier. It's a very harsh world, my little Legolas. While questing and destroying these goblins searching for some crystals that they are mining, a little while later, a Law's Maniac has appeared once more, but I've decided no mercy for the night elf, and once again lava burst him to the face. Now, some of you may think I'm evil for doing this, or that they just don't deserve it, but they do. After all, this is Stranglethorn Vale. After eradicating the goblin mining population at the cave, we can finally move on, and I take chase onto a dwarf female hunter, a horrid creature from the depths of the world that also must be slain. I catch up to the dwarf and I put down the abomination it is before running all the way back. After all, this is my jungle now. From here on out, it's just very relaxing questing, teaming up with a mage called Kaf to take down the elite raptor as we near the end of the Hemit Nezingweri questline, which basically has you make most of the world's wildlife go extinct. Then we kill each of the matriarchs of the respective animals. The raptor was one, then we have to kill the only white tiger in World of Warcraft, King Bangalash, and after turning in a lot of quests, we're now level 44.5, nearly finishing every quest in Stranglethorn. I then decide to take my hand at an elite quest, but little did I know, this would be pretty hard. I see a lot of dead ogre corpses at the front of the cave, so I enter hoping that the horde are running through this cave and not alliance. But as I turn the corner, I'm met by a whole party of them, and now I start strategizing. Do I wait until the elite I need is really low, then I attack them? Do I wait and hope they show me mercy? As more of them start joining the fight, I sit here thinking about it. What would a soldier of the horde do in this situation? Yeah, I know. I get closer, and as I see they target the mob I need and pull him, that's when I make the decision. I'm gonna do this. I pop elemental mastery and I flame shock them all, before chain lightning killing 2 of them instantly. There's a rogue with world buffs and full potions as he tries his best to survive, but I lava burst him to the face, taking him down and taking down their whole entire platoon before I fall to the elite mobs. I had no chance of killing this ogre anyway, but that was satisfying. In my karma, as soon as I respawn in the cave, I'm practically instantly killed by just one elite ogre, so I'm in a bit of a pickle as the run back is extremely long once more. I take a look at my map and decide, yeah, I think I'm done for a little bit now. So eventually, hours later, I come back on, and in my last video I met a rogue called Bobby Cultic X, who laughed at us and dueled us and beat us. Well, he comes to help me out as I encounter him once more in the jungle. Together we make a mean team ogre killing machine, and we take down the elites pretty nicely. After killing the ogre, I try to head out, but I die, and Bobby vanishes into thin air once again. I decide to take res sickness rather than do that extremely long run for like the 100th time, and he asks me,
how is the ELE shaman in PvP, by the way?
And I tell him, I don't think I really died to anyone my level while questing, which is sort of a lie as that paladin earlier did kill me, but I think they were a higher level. But we are definitely a powerhouse class in PvP. With the quest in Stranglethorn Vale slowly coming to an end and our time in the jungle nearing its next step, we have to take on an elite troll who has a small human as his pet. Yeah, I'm not even kidding, it's just a shrunken down human. His pet dies rather easily, giving us a one-on-one with the elite troll. Now, I want to play it safe because I've died so much in this zone recently and done a lot of corpse runs, so I drag him away as our healing and damage thanks to the gear we got from raids is insane. We're hitting around 1,400 lava bursts, and it's kinda nice, I must say. This area of the map where the gorillas are turns out to be a pretty rough one for me. Now I've faced many alliance foes and I've usually came out on top, but enter this little shithead, a rogue who has a dragon slayer buff, and well, I am practically no match for him without a trinket. He takes off half my HP instantly and then he just stuns me, and I'm definitely dead. Nothing I can do, and the king has finally fallen. Because it's blood moving active right now, even though I make it back to my body while he's fighting a gorilla, we just can't attack him or do anything thanks to this debuff, so I just laugh at him as he tries to run away like the coward he is. I then keep killing these gorillas whose giblets don't exist, and it's practically one of our last remaining quests.
Oh shit, here we go again.
But once again the rogue pops out of nowhere and lays absolute waste to me, proving to be too much of a challenge to handle. As I go back once again, I see a stealth player detected from my add-on, meaning he's still around here. But you can see my quest log is nearly complete. We just need one more giblet, which we get before the rogue can ambush us again. And I go into Ghost Wolf to make a very quick getaway. All that's left to do now is hand in all these juicy quests and level up. We level up to 45 by just killing the pirates here to be able to hand in a quest, and we slaughter their whole entire meeting. After turning them all in, we're already halfway to 46 too, but with a few more things left to do in the jungle. Now of course I had to fight a rogue that's peacefully questing because of what the other rogue did to me, and we barely managed to kill him. but all's fair in love and war. Then I'm attacked by a rabid animal who takes me out too, and I don't know what's happened, but I'm starting to die quite often to these Alliance scumbags. Now there must be a target on my head due to how many of them I've slain, as the rogue and the feral cat have teamed up and instantly take me down when I revive, giving me a taste of my own medicine finally. So I choose to take the coward's way out and resurrect far away from them. For now. Our main job towards the end of this zone was taking down the pirates and the Naga that roam on these islands. I killed that many of these that I nearly level up in the process, and I encounter a random sleeping priest in the middle of the road. I hope he knows that's probably not the best place to take a nap. Back to where the rogue destroyed me earlier on. I have to survive an onslaught of guerrilla attacks, wave after wave of enraged guerrillas charging at me, but I seem to be doing okay thanks to me being pretty powerful, until 5 of them come. My damage is nuts, but the spell pushback that you get from when they attack you is insane. I managed to actually bring down the 5 gorillas thinking that was it, but boy was I wrong. Enter Mock the Savage and an army. This time we don't have our elemental mastery to get off some huge damage. I try to take down Mock before we succumb to the vicious beatdown, but he just lives. And if I have to do that all over again, I'm in trouble. As I run back, the troll somehow out of sheer determination is still alive. He refuses to go down. So I run in and save his ass, killing Mock before his followers once again beat the living crap out of me. I run back, grab the heart, and I am so glad this quest is over with. After finishing off some more quests on the shore, killing pirates and taking their treasures, and also slaughtering their captains on each boat, we are finally done with the whole of STV.
Nice.
I hand them in, and then I hearthstone to Gromgol to finish off the last ones, but Blood Moon is active once more, and the guards here know that I'm basically a madman when it comes to this event, so they kill me. One of their own, they kill. Finally, with the jungle now behind us and coming back to civilization, it's felt weird not having to look over my shoulder 24/7. There's a few things we need to do before we can head out once again out into the dangerous world. However, I encounter a place where I can turn in shipments and I get a lovely 3 to 5 gold per one. This gives me also enough XP to level up to level 47 and a nice little amount of change in the bag too. Something I really need to start working towards is the mount, but having Goldswolf means this just isn't that much of a big deal at the moment. But I do decide to try and sell as much stuff as I can on the auction house. Our engineering is currently maxed out at level 225 for my level. When we reach the zone of Tanaris, we can level it up even further. But having money doesn't count if you visit your trainer and you have your whole entire spellbook to learn.
I've got nothing left.
So as quick as we made some gold, we ended up losing most of it immediately to learning crucial spells, and I still haven't learned even half of them. I spend some time smelting, trying to get my mining up further too, and I do a final shipment quest. This makes us friendly with the vendor and allows us to buy yet another rune. The rune is of Healing Rain, but it's a complete waste of 2 gold because it goes on your chest, and well, I'm never going to use this. I finish off my engineering quest too, and then I head all the way back to Booty Bay to turn it in. This allows us to be a gnomish engineer and learn an abundance of cool things, like the rocket boots allowing us to run faster than the Flash. We don't really need them just yet. Now with all that done, it's time to get back to adventuring and trying to finish off the last 3 levels so we can hit the next and last phase before our max level. As I'm making my way through the 1,000 needles heading to the next zone, I kill a cloud serpent I aggroed and it dropped me something called a cloud serpent fang. If we combine these with some other ingredients, I think this might be another rune. I collect all of the fangs and then I start killing harpies for their feathers. I then buy a silken thread from Freewind Pulse and we get a thing called the Offering to the Wind Serpent. Now the Wind Serpent is high up in the sky and it took me a while to get here, but I do find the Wind Serpent and I use my offering. We then get a buff that says show a test of faith, so I just throw myself off the edge of the mountain. We luckily don't die and we get a rune of decoys. This gives us the ability Decoy Totem, allowing us to absorb 1 attack or spell, which is actually very nice as it's the only feat rune we even have at the moment. As we make our way through the shimmering flats, I encounter a dwarf hunter, so I'm like, sure, I'll kill him, why not? And he's acting very suspicious. So I kill this guy and carry on heading to Tanaris. Then there's some skeletons on the floor in a path, and well, I then encounter another hunter, followed by a whole army of hunters. These must definitely be bots. So I decide to do what any good horde soldier would do and lay waste to the army of bots. However, these bots nearly take me out. Luckily I'm a shaman or they actually would have killed me, and at least I stopped them, even for a brief moment. We enter the land of Tanaris, a desolate land compared to the lavish jungle we've called our home for so long, and we arrive at the town of Gadgetzan. As I enter the inn to make it my home, I see a lot of level 1s. Now, after having some experience, I know why they are here, but at the time I had no idea. So on more of my bot purge hunt, I decide to charge up a chain lightning, zapping them all and killing them before the guards brutally beat me. I use my Ankh and decide that my job here is not quite done yet. So I chain lightning again and try and take down all the low levels in this inn once more. With my gear red, I decide it's probably best not to wind up the town guards anymore, as I did just arrive here after all. So I start my adventure questing and we head over to a little town of Steamweedle Port to grab a few more quests. Now enter this little douche, a shadow priest. He attacks me as I'm minding my own business and then he just one-shots me. Now our story with this guy is just beginning. He has a mount, so I'm trying to chase him for revenge, as sometimes I just don't know when to quit. It seems as if he's completely oblivious to me tracking him. I'm managing to keep up with him and not lose sight of my prey. I then see he starts pulling mobs, so now is my time to act for my revenge. As he goes to mount again, the battle begins. I know he just wants to fear me now, but I return the favour of his one shot by just blasting him in the face and taking him out. Now we are 1 for 1. This is where I should have just packed up my bags and left him. Well, I thought I'd have the clever idea of camping him for a bit. I hide behind a rock because surely he can't see me, right? Wrong. He spawns on top of me and fears me. And well, this is very bad, as fear is basically a stun. And with a mob on me too, and all these little mini versions of him and full dots, I die. As I'm leaving the area again, I notice he's drinking, so round 3 starts. He misses his fear and is sniping my totems with his wand and dispelling my flame shock so my lava burst won't crit him. But this time I win the fight once more as he succumbs to a lava burst. So now we are 2 for 2 and I wish I left it here. But I didn't, so I camp him once more. Now I see a hunter resurrect that I presume the priest killed too. So I heal him and maybe I make a friend here in this fight. But the priest has now figured out how to kill me. He dots me and runs away, and as I have to stop to heal, he then runs back in and redots me. I end up joining a group mid-fight for Zul'Farrak, but the priest's little minions spawn, giving me pushback on my spells, and because of these, I just die. Now I'd love to say we keep going 1 for 1, but he kills me over and over and over again. I then see he's fighting the hunter once more, so I whisper the hunter telling him, let's kill him together. I tell him to release and summon his pet, and I see this as he's doing it as a signal to go. The hunter starts attacking, but I'm already at half HP. He instantly kills the hunter, and these little shithead mini priests ruin me, and I die once again. I then realise that the hunter is a bot, and well, this priest has well and truly destroyed me. So I finally get mercy from him as we leave and we can join the others that are making their way to Zul'Farrak, a dungeon I'm sure many of you know, famous for its stair event and its epic sword you could get. We arrive at the dungeon and we've got a couple of quests here, but there is just no way we can complete them all in one go. Let me take you to these scarabs. Oh boy, somebody already has 4, and out of clearing many scarabs, can you guess how many I get? 3? 4 maybe? No. 1. Uno. So it looks like we may need to repeat this dungeon. The rest of the dungeon goes swimmingly, thanks to having a shaman tank once again, as I'm starting to see just how powerful this class is. We take down the event atop of the pyramids with ease, with pulls that would give you hardcore players the shivers. We then kill the people that we just saved for some reason and take their loot. Sorry guys. But right at the end where usually Godzilla is, there's a spider. Now I don't remember this ever being here, and when it dies it drops something called a wild offering. I've got no idea what it's for, but they say they're running the instance again. So I say, I'm down. I'm level 48 and with 2 levels left to do, this is a great chance to get some more XP and try and finish off my scarab quest too. So I head back to town to sell off some stuff and hand in quests as my bags are jam-packed. We also get a brand new helmet with 23 intellect, a massive upgrade for us. We also invite a high level hunter as he's farming wild offerings. Then after you've got these, you need to go to Ragefire Downs, they are saying. So it looks like I'm on a journey doing something I have no idea about once again. The group decides to skip bosses and just go straight to the spider, but I ask kindly if we can just kill the scarabs for my quest. This time, after only a few scarabs, I'm done with them though, and that's just a luck of the draw. I only got 1 the first time, and instantly completed it the second time. We then come to the realization we've got to kill 3 bosses in order for the spider boss to summon to get our offerings. So once we do that, we kill the spider again. Then we kill it once more for a total of 3 offerings. With this complete, we have to make the long journey across Kalimdor from Tanaris all the way to Felwood. But first I make a pit stop. After many quests, vendoring a lot of trash and selling all my stuff earlier on the auction house, after we hand in supply crates too for 5 gold a time, we have a grand total of 56 gold, allowing us to learn wolf riding for 9 gold and then buy a mount for 36 gold. A lot cheaper than I thought it would be, but still absolutely destroys my wallet. And I worked my butt off questing and mining, but look at us, riding a wolf through Orgrimmar. I feel so proud in this moment, I can't tell you. With our remaining 11 gold in the bag, I go to the trainer and learn some more spells. With all that done, we now head to Felwood, and here we can speak to the Shadowtooth emissary, and we get a quest. After asking my group on advice, half of them decide to leave, leaving just me and the shaman confused on what to do. So after carefully reading the quest text, we've got to cross the world once more. This time we need to go to the zone of Hinterlands, which takes me a short while to get to, as it's on the complete opposite side. It's all part of the journey. After arriving here and joining back up with Lemsham in a low level group for the dungeon, I have to kill these elite trolls in hope for it to drop the item we need. It actually took me many kills to get this, and while farming these elite trolls, we level up to 49 too. The drop rate felt awful, and my group started to grow really impatient with me. But after many more troll kills, we finally loot the Windship at Drought, I probably said that wrong, the item that we need to finish off this weird journey of wild offerings. With the final few steps in front of us, we make our way to Razorfen Downs, and me and the tank are massively overleveled here, so we're just clearing through this really fast. But as we kill a boss, a blue belt drops, with 7 damage and healing and a lot of intellect. So I roll on it and need, as it's better than the green belt I had, so a nice little treat for ourselves. After we then kill the last bar, I'm near the Coldbringer, probably said that wrong. I use my Whisper Drought once again, and I'm confused what to do, until I see a big boar show up, and this is the part you usually collect your wild offerings at. But as we already have them, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to head all the way back to Felwood. When we hand in this quest, we receive an item called Hijal's Wisdom, which lets us learn a rune, and for all that trouble, we get Riptide, a healing spell that actually does a very high amount of instant healing and gives us a heal over time after. And as it's a bracer rune, we definitely want this. It also procs our power surge ability too, meaning we can get an instant cast lava burst if we're lucky. So I would say that was definitely worth the effort. With all that said and done, our last thing to do is to get to level 50 to try and experience the last leveling raid that was introduced in Season of Discovery. So I head right back to Tanaris and continue with our questing, killing ogres mainly, until I stumble upon a poor little lost gnome mage who's making himself a huge target by lighting himself up. He's slowly backpedaling away from me as we nearly one-tap him, and the poor guy is so scared he's just sat in an ice block. I'm sorry little guy, but your time has come, as we lava burst him straight to the face. In Tanaris, there's also a breadcrumb quest here you definitely want to start if you want to look cool, and that's a Noggenfogger quest line. The first step is looting something called a Laden Doogland. Now this has a really bad drop rate usually, but we actually get it before even finishing our kill quest here, so I'll take that. After heading back to Gadgetzan and handing in most of the quests, we're only 2 bars off that next phase 50, so I decide to finish off the Noggenfogger quest line in order to reach that. Once again, it's a cross-world map, so going all the way back to the Hinterlands for one item, a Violent Tragon in the lake. Then we Hearthstone back to Gadgetzan to hand it in, and after speaking to the goblin as he cooks us up some Noggenfogger elixir, we are so very close to leveling, but at least we've got a cool cosmetic potion now. So with one quest in our log that's completed and will for sure get us to level 50, I head back to our home city of Orgrimmar to fix up my bank, sort out my bags and my professions, and level them up a tad bit more. I managed to get our engineering to around 237. Then I decide to take the boat back to Booty Bay to hand in the last quest in this zone, I'm pretty sure anyway, and we hit the next level cap of 50. Our gear is looking fantastic, I must say. We got a nice new blue belt, but we desperately need a weapon still. But this is not quite where the journey ends. So I heard a little story about something called incursions. Now what these are, I've got no clue, but apparently they give you a nice chunk of experience and a little bit of gold too. And as we haven't done any of them yet on our journey, I thought why not? So before I went to do this, I was doing a few quests in Felwood, killing off some deadwood shamans, and they drop a volatic icon for a rune, but more on this soon. Back to the incursions, I've got to make the long trip now to Feralus. Now Feralus is a zone I've never really spent much time in, if ever in my World of Warcraft career so to speak, and I really underestimated the sheer size of this. Even with a mount running from one side to the other took me quite a while, although I did really enjoy the lavish green nature of this zone, so it was a pretty peaceful run. So I eventually make it to where my group are, and there's a quest giver here. It's blue on the map, and blue means these are daily quests, and oh my god, look at how many there are. This is incredible. After accepting literally close to 20 quests, we enter a portal, and we join our group in what I think is an incursion. Then we all get a mark on top of our head, and thanks to our noggin fogger potion, we become a skeleton. Incursions are pretty simple. It's just an area of the map where you do some quests. These require things like killing mobs, killing bosses like this massive emerald dream dragon, speaking to spies that roam around, and clicking on small things on the floor. And finally, escorting people out of the incursion. Honestly, this was really easy. I don't know if they're supposed to be, but we just breezed through the whole zone and completed a bucket load of quests. There was some things we didn't do like greater moonstones and others, as I believe they are tied to professions. After handing in every single quest, we get a full level, basically straight to level 51. That's fantastic. I highly recommend doing these if you want a bit of gold and some quick XP. After the incursion, there's really only one thing left for us to do now, and that's to try and do the raid. First, I take a last pit stop at Gadgetzan to just level up my engineering a bit more and make some bombs that help me out with damage and stuns in PvP. We get to nearly 250 engineering before we finally run out of materials. I managed to get myself into the last raid before max level, although they want me to heal. Now, I've never healed, so this will be interesting. So do you remember when I looted the volatic icon earlier from the shaman in Felwood? It requires me to kill 3 enemies with one single chain lightning cast. So in Durotar, I figured one shot in some low levels should in theory work. It took me a lot longer than I thought to gather up 3 mobs, but we do kill them and we get inspired. Then we learn a rune, and this rune is called Storm, Earth and Fire, reducing the cooldown of chain lightning by a huge 50%, giving Earthbind a root for 5 seconds and increasing the damage even further on Flameshock by 60%. This is insanely strong and fills out nicely with the other runes we've collected. It's time to raid. It's time to take on the Sunken Temple. Yep, that huge dungeon. It's now a raid, and I've got no idea what to expect. With nobody to guide me through this time, let's see what happens. This raid is using the soft reserve system. For anyone that doesn't know, on an external website you can choose 2 items to soft reserve. So if they drop, only you and whoever else soft reserve these can roll on them. I have chose a weapon because, well, quite frankly, I'm in desperate need of one, and we all get in the sleeping bag to get our XP buff. We then start charging through the temple where who knows what awaits us. As we enter the first boss's room, we've got plenty, and I mean plenty of trash to clear. We even do some Indiana Jones style rope swinging. The idea is to kill all the ads on these platforms to stop the beams to the boss. We've got a super geared level 60 shaman tank helping us out this run too, so that's always nice to see. Enter Threat Poliso. He types in the chat,
"We will wipe after 3 boss, then raid will disband."
and I don't know why, but he's already very negative. Maybe the bosses get extremely hard. Then someone asks him, and he says, Alright, now I'm a bit nervous. So we arrive at the first boss, and the leader gives us a quick breakdown on what he wants us to do, which is to have casters stand in front of a pillar apparently. So we pull the boss and these dragon pillar things spawn. So I stand in front of one. He then does a massive smash attack, but thanks to my Riptide rune and the fact I'm healing, I take basically no damage. I'm a bit of a hybrid shaman this run. We bring him down and we get a massive 25,000 experience, and he drops an epic already, a healing shield. We don't need this. He also drops, just like Gnomragon, these blood icons, allowing us to turn them into powerful sets. That's if we win them, of course. Now, apparently we mess up, and the whole raid is instantly eaten by a massive slime that I presume is a second boss. Well, that went fantastic. But the next time we face him where we are actually supposed to on the corridor, the gist of the fight, from what I gathered, is to run away. Yeah, just run away from him. And then DPS him when he stands still. And keep down your poison cleansing totem if you're a shaman. This time we bring him down with 0 deaths and he drops an epic stick of some sorts. Must be like a toy. And some other bog standard loot. Straight after this you face the third boss. It's a gauntlet of trolls that when they die they become ghosts and attack you. Meaning you've got to CC them. But the more you kill, the more you've got to deal with. So it can become a bit scary towards the end. I randomly get aggroed off a boss. And well, he kills me in one hit. That's bad. So I beg for a CR, whispering practically every druid in the raid, and we kindly get res, meaning we don't lose out on the glorious experience. But we bring down the trolls, and they drop nothing really. I'm just more interested in winning these sort of tiers. The leader spans for us to get out the middle, as I presume that's where we fight the next boss, and I'm right, it's 2 dragons. The whole room is surrounded with poison, and these dragons' ability is a knockback with a big hole in the centre of the room, so you definitely don't want to get thrown down there. I get knocked around twice, and well, I die again to poison. Fantastic. I get another lovely combat res once again, but then our tank dies, as the dragons are really low. We manage to bring him up too, and we stabilise as we bring down the dragon boss. They drop an epic mace, which would be good if we was an enhancement shaman, but so far nothing really that's interesting me. As you're making your way to the next boss room, you have trolls, and when you kill them, ghosts spawn. And if you don't run away from them, they kill you. So the leader types,
Stop, die.
as a lot of people was just dying over and over to them. Then of course, Threat Police says,
Stop, die, Felicia.
and Felicia says,
Stop, die.
and I think these two are just trolling now. The next boss we face is 2 priests, Jamal and Ogon. These bosses so far have all been pretty simple. With this, you simply target one of them down. In our case, we go for Jamal, as he basically does a Holy Nova cast that you just don't stand him. After Jamal falls, Ogrom grows in power because, well, he's a cannibal and he eats his friend. And now, you just kill him. The fight is basically the same, he just brings you in and casts Divine Storm, so you just run away. Rinse and repeat until the boss falls. He dies, and look what drops. The weapon I soft reserved. An epic freaking weapon with an insane amount of spell power. But the 60 Shaman and somebody else has also soft reserved this too. A really good epic spellcaster necklace drops too, but unfortunately we can't roll on that. Somebody then shares a quest to kill these trolls after we already killed them, because why not? Thanks, you douche. And after we killed this boss, a couple of people left, as he obviously was here for probably only 1 item. And we have 2 bosses remaining. The raid is now trolling with Felicia saying,
Guys, I have something important to tell you. Stop, die.
and I'm starting to think him and Threat Police are some sort of menacing duo, but this raid is just ignoring them. They just spam stop, die over and over. Now the raid starts to argue though, as Threat Police types,
We will never ever have enough DPS.
and the Shaman Tank bundle of stick says,
Shut up.
then Threat Police tells,
Simeon kick bundle, he's negative.
and I'm just sat here giggling to myself. We pull another dragon boss, and it's the theme of this raid, and well, I'll be honest, I still don't understand the tactics. They just say to kill ads, so that's what I do when they spawn. He's casting some lucid dreaming where we go to sleep, and then another dragon is casting something too. I'm in and out of both worlds with no clue what's going on, trying to heal and DPS. We bring the boss really low as he's nearly casted his eternal slumber, and Threat Police was wrong. We did have enough DPS, and the dragons fall as we level up to 52 as well, and another epic drops. This place is just full of gear, I love it. Threat Police is still trolling,
Kick bundle, he's negative.
so I asked the shaman, is he your friend? And he says,
No, some rando. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he deals DPS.
ah, makes sense. Then we arrive at the last boss, or what I thought would be the last boss. The leader starts rolling out some gear now before we pull. The blood icon comes out and we roll a huge 69. Nice. And so does Fens, as somebody rolled a 95. So this means we both have to probably roll again, and then we lose it. But there's only one item I'm waiting for, and that's a weapon. I roll first, a high 62, as the other 2 people roll well below me, meaning I can trade the hunter, and we get ourselves an epic freaking weapon. Bundle congratulates us, and the difference is now night and day, going from 2 intellect to 12 and 30 spell power on top of that. God damn, I'm so happy. We lose practically every other roll on every item, but with this weapon, I feel complete. So we pull the Shade of Ericus and we follow a star as ranged as he leaves these clouds on the floor. He then goes to sleep mid-fight as I guess he's tired of our crap and summons ads which we deal with. Everything's going easy so far. Too easy. And then as I thought, half the raid gets one shot from an ability. That's not good. The fight then slowly becomes a descent into madness with people dead and ads just roaming free. There's knockbacks, stuns, silences, and somehow I'm still alive right until the very end. I'm trying to do my best healing, but I fall as well. We bring him to his last few percent before we all just die. We pull again after regrouping and rebuffing, but both our tanks get one shot, and well, that's definitely a wipe again.
Oh shit, here we go again.
And one by one, people start to leave the raid, and well, I think that's the end of that. It's unfortunate, but what can you do? One wipe at a few percent and the tanks mess up, so people just leave. Now, I was going to end the video here, but do you think I wouldn't kill the last 2 bosses of the raid and call it a day? Oh no. So we enter the raid again a few days later, but I won't go through every boss again, but I have to show you this raid. Well, the loot. The first boss dies and this leader immediately rolls out loot. I roll a huge 94 on the idol and I win the item. That's a good piece of gear upgrade considering how many needed it. Then somebody asked me,
"Would you consider selling it, sir?"
And I'm a little bit intrigued. He then tells me he can also roll on the rest for me for the whole raid. So I ask him how much he's offering, and he offers me a huge 50 gold. Now if he's offering such a high price already, surely I can get a little bit more out of him. So I have a look at the items and he's still asking me for it. So I decide to tell him just a little bit more and you swayed me. So he then goes
70.
and I'm like, you roll for me in the rest of the dungeon and we've got a deal. So he trades me 70 gold and we now have nearly 100 gold in our bags. We then win a 2-handed epic weapon for an enhanced off spec if we ever decide to go that route. We then proceed to barely kill the troll boss with half of our raid being slaughtered, but the heroes pull through and kill him before ninja pulling the dragons and wiping the raid once more. Typical of a pug, but what can you do? We then bring down the dragons, suffering a lot more deaths once again, but no loot for us. Jamal and his prophet troll eating friend fall very easily, and now I have a DPS meter too. I decided to finally install it and see what we're doing, and we're keeping up, not doing too bad. The boss falls and an epic chest piece drops. Cloth that has a huge amount of spell power and intellect drops. I want this so bad. I roll a super high 88 on the token and then I'm beat by a 99. Typical. He then rolls out the chest piece and I roll a 58. Nobody rolls higher than me. It looks like I'm about to win. The leader waits half a year and then he just gives it to the lowest roller, Exulu. That's not right. So I tell Exulu, I won the roll, can you please trade it me? And Exulu does, being the kind gentleman he is. So from 2 raids, we have got 2 massive items, an epic weapon and an epic chest piece that honestly are probably going to last me a very, very long time. People are starting to talk about the leader too, as he's giving away random items to random people, and it's not looking good for us finishing this once again. We bring down the Dream Dragons with no issues, and he drops 2 more epics, but nothing we can really use right now. So we're finally back to the last boss, the one that caused our last raid to disband. As usual, half the raid is dead once more, and I'm alive and trying my very best to heal and do damage and keep us all up. We bring him to a sliver of HP, it looks like we actually might kill him, and we bring him down, leveling up to 53 too. We also loot a quest item off him, as he drops 3 epics, but none of us we can really use. So we turn in the quest, which gives us a trinket, and now we're at the final boss of this raid. It's actually the avatar of Hacker. It's pretty simple. You all stack, and when he puts corrupted blood on you, you stand in front of the boss so you don't spread the infection, and if people get mind controlled, you purge it. So naturally, the raid messes up, and a lot of people die, leaving only a few of us alive. But because this fight is so scripted, we managed to stay alive for ages and bring him insanely low. But because of the lack of damage, healers go and we do fall, with the dead getting a first-hand 10-minute experience of how this fight goes. We go again. This time we execute it to perfection. Even with people disconnecting, nobody dies. Everybody does mechanics, and we bring down the avatar of Hacker, the final boss in the Sunken Temple. Now, so far I've won every single quest item from every last boss I've done in raids, giving me an epic necklace and an insane spell power trinket up to this point. So Hacker is no different. He drops a quest item, an insane epic spell power trinket as well. Holy moly. He also drops a very good staff, but our shield and epic weapon is much better. He rolls out the quest item and I roll an 87 as Halloumi rolls a higher 94 to me, and I'm thinking damn, I've lost. But he actually drops 2 of them, so that means I'm also one of the lucky winners, and as is tradition, we win yet another quest item that everybody needed. Wow, that, my luck is insane. This gives us an epic freaking ring. I'm so happy about that. I'm drowning in gear right now. There's only one thing left to roll for, and that's the Ally Blood Charm. It's rolled out and I roll a 72 as people below me roll a 5, a 14, and then a 37. Then the Shaman tank, who's level 60, rolls a 100. But he just immediately passes as he's just trolling. And that means we win the epic trinket as well. I am so happy. So I head all the way back to Stranglethorn Vale, a place I'm all too familiar with, to instantly turn in the quest, giving us an epic ring that is a massive upgrade for us. And well, as the rain is pouring down in the jungle, Antijax is now stacked with gear and ready for the last push in his adventure in the Season of Discovery world. At very high level 53, we've only got 7 levels to do before we hit that endgame of Classic. That went really quick, to be fair. But first I decided to try my hand at a battleground, and so far I haven't done any, and after sitting in an eternity queue, because Warsong Gulch and Arathi Basin never pop, the only battleground that does is Alteroot Valley. This is kinda bad as well, everybody's level 60, I'm mostly geared in here. So I get my arse handed to me several times and I decide I'll just leave this for a bit later on. I also do some sort of shaman class quest that this lonely troll in the mountains gives to me. I'm not sure where or what I'll end up leading to, but it's best not to leave many stones unturned. While also in the hinterlands going to hand in my Sunken Temple quest, I came across a quest called Clarifying Air. It's classified as a shaman quest, and after drinking some spirits, we can now see spirits and, well, kill spirits. And this gives us a quest to collect elemental essences. And I think this may be something to do with a rune. For a recap of our gear, this is how many epics we have. We've got a chest piece as well as a weapon and a ring that we got last time, and we can't forget the Ally Blood Ritual Charm trinket. Our gear is looking fantastic as we continue on this journey. Well, the journey I'm about to make is a long one, as I found a group advertising for Blackrock Depths. Now what I do know of Classic is BRD or Blackrock Depths is one of the endgame zones. Its dungeons are huge and offer plenty of quests and gear, as well as achievements, but more of that later on. While heading there, I obviously purge the Alliance scum every time I come across them, like these two low-level friends happily questing together, enjoying their time, before I just slaughter them like pigs to the butcher. What a lovely chap I am. As we arrive in the Burning Steppes, I see at the top of my screen something called Blackrock Eruption. People are killing each other, and it looks like the zone is on fire with ash raining down on us. I'm pretty sure this is an event similar to the Stranglethorn Vale one, but for now we just need to make it to the dungeon in one piece. I take a pit stop to grab a flight path, as well as quite a few quests for the dungeon too. No idea which ones I'm supposed to do, so I'm just going to grab them all to be safe. Believe it or not, I make it into the mountain in one piece. It seems as though the mountain is pretty much horde dominated at the moment, so I make it into the dungeon, and these guys are saying it's just an XP farm. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that. I ask them to share any quest with me, and Shamzon then asks me,
Antijax put alpha on me.
Now, I have had people ask me about this, as I know it's a rune, but I don't have it, nor do I even know where to get it. And he gives me a simple,
gosh,
sorry dude. Then we go about our business, killing the dwarves of the mountain and completing some quests. Honestly, this dungeon's not really a problem, and we managed to level up to 54 here, making great progress. But the group after this just falls apart after one quick run, so that's fantastic. I decided to see if I can get some more gear or experience in a Sunken Temple raid, and we encounter a mage called Kalulu while we wait. She tells me you can get dual spec in Season of Discovery in Orgrimmar for a small price of 40 gold. Well, that might be something we need to pick up in the future, but right now, definitely not. So we enter the Sunken Temple raid once more, and this is where I find out about an add-on called Loot Reserve that lets us choose 2 items to reserve. I decided to go for a belt and a helmet, because why not? And it looks like I'm the only one doing so, if I'm right. So if they drop, they could be ours. We kill the first boss and we still get a massive amount of XP. I'm not sure if it's affected by rested, but 50,000 damn. A cool gun axe drops, but we don't really need this either. We then fight the festering rot slime in the corridors, where we try not to get utterly absorbed and annihilated by the big green glob. Once again, our raid brings him down pretty easy thanks to having many 60s, and he drops some bog standard loot, so not much for us here. The gauntlet of trolls, where you must kill them and then survive the onslaught of ghosts as they reincarnate and run at you. Goes rather well too. So far this group is doing great. No deaths, but you can't loot the boss straight away due to the fact you start the next boss if you do. But of course our little skeleton friend starts this fight anyway as he's looting for his quest, so we just have to engage the dragon straight away. The fight goes really well with only one poor soul being thrown down the circle and dying. Poor little rogue. And then we bring down the dragons. Once more, crap loot for us in general. But this is where I realise that actually the shaman quest I collected earlier is located right here in the raid. I need to loot the trolls for their feathers, but more on this soon. This time on the cannibalistic troll friends, we give Jamal a break from being eaten and we kill Ogram so Jamal can drain his soul instead. It doesn't seem to make too much of a difference mechanic wise if I'm being honest. Jamal the Prophet then dies and an epic necklace drops once more. It's got beautiful stats, but I can't tell if anyone's reserved this just yet. I tried my hand at rolling on one of the tier tokens for gear, but they were soft reserve too, so I can't win any of them. Then we take on some more dragons. Another quick and easy clean kill. It also makes us level 55 with only 5 levels left to go, and the dragon drops the belt I soft reserved with 24 spell damage, 1% crit, and intellect and stamina. This could be huge. I tried to persuade the leader to give it me early, but he doesn't. Meanwhile, the priest is spamming for him to be able to roll on the necklace that drops. He's refusing to continue and heal the raid, and everybody's telling him to just wait as we're going to roll loot at the end, and it stops levers, hence why I've not got my belt either. They're arguing in the chat about it, and the priest has got a decision to make as he's threatening to leave. If he leaves, he won't get his item anyway, so it's very, very pointless. This goes on for a little while with people spamming the chat about loot, and I'm just trying to remind the group of the tactics, and we go. Then the priest leaves, so he's just lost himself the item anyway. It makes no sense. Waking Nightmare goes out, and of course people get one shot.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Because no matter how many times you tell people what to do, they do their own thing, which then leads to a domino effect of people dying, and once again we wipe on this boss. Typical. Then people leave, as is tradition, so now we've got even less people to try it with. But the leader actually manages to find people willing to come to the last boss, which is great for me, as it means we've got a shot at bringing him down. So we pull him again, and the main thing people need to do is avoid Waking Nightmare. All you have to do is go into the clouds when he casts it. I yell, go to the cloud, and only one person dies. Well, that's a small win. Until he does his next Waking Nightmare, killing more people once again, and activating a chain reaction of adds, debuffs, and deaths. And we're in shit again. I die as well, so no experience for me, but I just want the boss to die. With only a few people remaining alive, the heroes bring down the Shade of Ericus, and look what drops too. My helmet. I'm the only one that reserved this, I think. I'm not sure how this add-on works, so we've just got to pray and pray. The leader rolls it out, and he just straight up gives it to me, and I'm insanely happy. That is another epic to the collection. I'm just waiting to see if the belt comes my way too, and it does. This gives us now an actually incredibly amount of epics for our level. Folks, my friend messages me saying,
most blessed char in the world.
And well, yeah, I don't disagree with you. The raid disbands as we don't have the egg to summon the hacker, but I won't lie, I ain't complaining. So we go back to our adventuring, and we're venturing across Tanarus. I come across a rare bird that disappears right in front of me. Fantastic. I then see a group advertising for a full run of Blackrock Depths, so I opt to go for that and try and experience it in its full glory. I then kill a hyena and a quest item drops, the shaman one once more. So we drink the spirits and then kill the spirit. And once again we get another quest for elemental essences. So far we've done air and earth. This leads me to believe we've probably got to find water and fire too. So let me take you back to Blackrock Depths, and I'll show you my first group. Yep, there's going to be more than one. So they say full run please, and the tank says,
don't remember route.
But we've got a key, so we're taking shortcuts. So we basically engage with our first pack of dwarfs. Now we have a mage healer too, so that's pretty cool. Our damage seems great, and the shaman tank decides to go and pull some more. Okay, so why is this an issue? Wait for it. Yep, there we go. Me and the other mage aggro a pack of ads, ninja pulling them. And well, the mage ninja packs another pack. And oh my god, the mage dies instantly, and I'm trying my best to keep up the tank too, but I'm There's so many dwarves, and I just die. Our group seems to be staying alive though, and maybe we won't wipe here. I check the mage's mana, and it's practically gone. They then aggro a fire elemental that joins the fight, and it looks as if we're going to survive this onslaught, thanks to having some high levels in the group. And then I watch as they pull more after more groups, and well, That's it. The healers the tank dies, then he leaves the group, and we all wipe. What a fun experience. The mage then says I can come to another group, so I decide, why not? I'm already here, and I go for attempt 2, and then look who else is in the group. The tank that left us before. This time we make it to our first boss, Baelgar, without ninja pulling. Yep, never mind. Without any pulls, that makes our group disbands and wipes. Now, these are full clear in this place, so I'm hoping to finish off some quests. Also, when you kill a high level boss, you get something called a Tarnished Undermine Reel, a coin that you can use to exchange for items, but more on that later. The rest of the dungeon goes pretty smooth until we get to the Grim Guzzler. Now, usually you gotta throw beer or give beer to this guy in order to start a brawl and the door opens, or you can't really continue. So naturally, while we're throwing beer, the mob for some reason aggroes onto our mage and attacks him. This is very, very bad. We're now possibly soft-locked to the whole instance. We spend some time trying to figure out how to get through this massive iron door. The tank suggests to just commit mass genocide and kill everybody, so we end up stuck. And it looks like I'm just not going to complete this dungeon ever. Until by some weird miracle, a patrolling mob decides to open the door for us and come in saving ourselves from the end. I then get my ass handed to me plenty of times by army of dwarves, but we somehow manage to make it through this area, which brings us to the last boss's room, the Emperor, and his princess. These are a bit high level compared to me being 59, but it's not an issue thanks to being carried here by 60s. We kill him and he drops a fire resistance ring and a strong two-handed axe. Now I've heard you may need fire resistance later on, so I need on it and win it. As we are leaving, the tank asks if anybody needs the MC attune. Now MC is Molten Core, the raid we need to do. An attunement is something you need to do to even enter the raid. Unfortunately, I don't have the quest to do this yet, so we then go through the whole dungeon, killing people and doing quests. We're getting coins and we're getting some gear. We start to clear everything as they're looking for a specific mob, which works out wonders for me. Now I end up dying while trying to complete one quest, and this actually turns out to be a blessing. While dead, you can talk to an NPC still, and he gives you the quest Attunement to the Core. This will allow us to raid if we can complete it. So the kind group helps me take down Ribley for a quest, even though they really want to be done with this place, and we're only 4 at this point. So deciding to really push my luck, I ask, can we just grab the attunement then leave? Praying they say yes. Then I tell the tank I've got the quest to the core, and he says,
oh come on.
But this group loves me now. So we make our way to the entrance of Molten Core, the level 60 raid, where we can grab the not so obvious core fragment that I had to ask where it was, because how the hell are you supposed to know this is it? And with that completed, we finished off the whole of the dungeon. We got a lot of quests and a lot of experience too. Now I'm a lovely person, so while some people are struggling to kill a mob, I decide to cast a chain lightning, and then I proceed to die. Karma. I pop to Beauty Bay to see what I can buy with these coins we've been looting off the bosses, and it looks like we can grab some dungeon gear, so that's something to work for later on. After I pop around the world, handing in some quests, we level up to levels 56. Not long now people, before that juicy level 60, we head back to our little shaman friend in the mountains and hand in a quest to get all 3 shaman items. Although the gear's pretty shit, it's a nice little trinket being manatide. While heading to do some more quests in Ashara, I come across a unkillable priest. They would just spam dispel on my flame shock, shield and run. I'm not even kidding, I could not kill them, and boy did I try. Before I was like, alright, never mind, 360 turn, run away. Now in Ashara, I was killing satyrs, and they also dropped another piece of the puzzle. Back when I got the earth and air shaman essences, this time we get something called the waterlog shaman notes, which I'm pretty sure is a water version. So we drink spirits and we kill a spirit once more, and I think there's only one left for us to find, and it's probably fire. I'm also pretty sure I know roughly where this should be. Now I don't actually have the footage apparently, but I did get the last piece in Searing Gorge, which brings us now to Feralus, here on the Forgotten Coast. If we combine our fragment of water with essences, we can complete the quest. The downside is we've got to do this individually every time. Turn it in and repeat it for all 4 of them. So after farming every water elemental in existence, we turn in the final quest at all the shaman elementals. This then summons an elite Twilight Dark shaman, so I guess we probably got to kill him. But thanks to my gear and being an elemental shaman, we absolutely destroyed this mob. Like, it was really easy. Looting him gives us the rune of Overcharged. What this does is give us a wrist rune, and its lightning shield never losing charges, which is actually really good. But I love Riptide. too much to get rid of it now. So it's not completely useless, but for now we're definitely not using it. After we've done all this, we get invited to our first Upper Blackrock Spire. My first time in here. At this point, I was just doing dungeons for the sake of it, trying to experience as much as I can really. Now this dungeon is fun until you get to Rend Blackhand. Here you basically just kind of AFK while you kill a few mobs. Well, I mean, it's like 10 minutes literally. This boss event is longer than the dungeon. Rend and his dragon come out, and well, we destroy them with relative ease as our group is pretty stacked with 60s. Then we make our way to the last boss, General Drakish. He's a pretty easy fight too. It seems we just stack everything up and AoE them down. Now this boss drops dungeon tier, so I imagine I might end up being in these dungeons a lot at some point. We kill him and a Spellweaver's Turban drops, and this thing's stat looks really good. So we roll on it, and unfortunately we do lose. I then do the opposite of the Upper Blackrock Spire by doing the lower version. This dungeon was pretty easy for us too. We did win a Smolder Web's Eye Trinket, a small upgrade over our last one, so that's a nice thing. We do some quests and events, finishing up our journal before we arrive at the last boss here, Overlord Wormfalak. I probably said that wrong, correct me if I did. We kill him and nothing really usable for us. Now this quest is the reason I'm here, Warlord's Command. This is going to send us on a very long quest chain. It's an achievement just like Molten Core, and after getting all these quests turned in, we ding level 57, and that's another quest completed in our achievement, and we can continue on our journey. And that journey takes me on a boat, where a Ret Paladin called Sengor kills me, then spits on me. Cheers, mate. With a massive 200 gold in my bag now, it's time to lose all of it once again training spells. I just see my gold amount draining down and down. But I need to start learning spells like Wind Fury Totem, as my groups are starting to ask for me to use it. So for my quests and some gear, I end up doing more dungeon runs. Well, that is until mine or someone else's totem pulls the entire dungeon and we are slaughtered. Which means a dungeon group all leaves, and that's that. While on my travels in the area, I come across a red book by some elite mobs. After looting this, we get Rune of Fire specialization. Then of course I throw a lava burst at a poor priest's face, but this priest escapes me too. I'm really losing my touch, I think. Back to dungeons, and this group doesn't even make it to the first room before it falls apart and everyone leaves, and I don't know what's going on lately, everything's just a bit of a mess. I'm having to constantly travel around the world for this achievement quest I'm on. So once again, I'm on the boat, and now I'm going to take revenge for what that paladin did to me. And look who else is here, the priest that evaded me in the mountain. I let the people know on the boat what's about to go down. I pop all my cooldowns and I chain lightning, then I kill Jess too. And even the AFK hunter is not safe from me. I murder everybody on the boat. The low level warlock that's here laughs, and I say, I'm going to do it again. If it's red, it's dead. On the boat, once you swap zones, you respawn, so I prepare as I know what's about to happen. Just like clockwork, they respawn, and Jess wants to throw me off the boat, the silly Billy, but I ain't having it. She then dies to me, and so do they all again, and my bloodthirst has slowly been quenched. The shaman's yelling for the horde. The warlock salutes me, so I trade him 5 gold as hush money, and I tell him to not say what he saw here today. When I'm back in Orgrimmar, I see a very good geared Ellie shaman, so I ask him on some advice if I should buy some dungeon gear off the auction house, as you can buy a couple of pieces. But before he can reply, I just end up buying it all anyways. It's very cheap and insanely strong. So back to doing the achievement, and then the next quest in this chain has us trying to track down Rexar. I meet up with a low level shaman on my journey who asks for my help with an elite. We kill it and we get a rune of Primordial Fury, allowing us to use Golf Wolf indoors. So that's a pretty nice rune. After roaming the desert lands of Desolace, we encounter Rexar and his bear, who then tasks us with going to the Western Plaguelands. So yeah, the other side of the world as per usual. After going all the way back to the Western Plaguelands, we're then tasked with, once again, going back to Upper Blackrock Spire to kill the boss there. And while I'm here, I thought, why not just go and do a Stratholm? Now, this is also easy, but as I'm slowly being up by plague rats, my group locks me out of the room. So I'm sat here, unable to help them for quite a while. They go and finish off the whole dungeon without me, and nothing for us drops. But at least I sort of experienced a Stratholm. After finally making it back to Upper Blackrock Spire for my quest, I join a group, but after killing the beast, they summon another boss, one I've not actually seen up until this point. They tell us to spread out, so we do, and then me and several other people just get absolutely obliterated in one attack. And well, from there on, it's a downhill spiral, as people fall and everyone dies. Rather than try again, people just once again instantly leave. It's a theme I'm starting to notice in Season of Discovery. People will just leave straight away rather than actually attempt anything. So that's kind of bad right now. But with Ren's head in my bags, I make it all the way back to Western Plaguelands and hand in the quest. After seeing a duo of people trying to AoE farm down some mobs, I just can't help myself, and I make the stupid decision of attacking a tank with a healer. And well, my stealth attempt at killing them doesn't go to plan. I also have mobs on me now too, but if I can just kill this bear, then the priest will probably die to me too. I get him to literally 1 HP, but spell pushback means I can't take him out, and I'm nearly dead. So with my tail tucked between my legs, I try to make a break for it, but they hunt me down like a wild animal, and I survive for quite a long time, but eventually I do fall, mainly due to me just going and the fact I've got an army of undead mobs on me, as a tank bear rarely does any damage. The next part of our achievement quest has us go all the way to Dustwaller Marsh, in a cave where we need to pretend we're a dragon to speak to a dragon. We then get several quests where we have to kill some, you guessed it, dragons, and we also level up to 58, 2 more levels left, and the first one being all the way back in the dungeon, the one I've done countless times. Now we need to kill the last boss, Drakisash, probably said that wrong, and this time he drops a turban once more, so I need on it yet again, and this time I actually win it. That seems like a super strong helmet, but we can't use it until level 60. All the way in Felwood, we grab another rune specialization like the fire one before it. Here is a red book once more where we can get nature specialization. This gives you a flat 6% chance to hit with nature spells, making gearing at later levels a little bit easier. Now we can begin killing the dragons for yet more of our achievement quest. As I take a summon, the leader says, wait 1 second. So I quickly tab out, seeing the dragon in front of me. Little did I know, they're killing a dragon behind me. And because I don't tag it as I thought the leader was AFK, I can't loot the head. So now we're going to have to come back here and try it again as they're moving swiftly on. So we go around the world and we kill the other 2, and then I come back and offer some high levels some gold if they help me kill the dragon. Some people accept and don't want payment out of the kindness of their heart. Others, like a rogue, of course it's a rogue, take payment from me, hurting my wallet even more. But I managed to get the quest done, and that was my main objective, as I want to catch up with the rest of the group from before. So I have to go back to Orgrimmar, then back to Dustwaller Marsh, and so much running. Luckily for you guys, I'll just do a quick snip, and we are there. I wish it were like that for me. Then our next dragon is in the wetlands at Grimbatol. Believe it or not, I didn't even know this was a thing back in Classic WoW. After we beat down on the black dragon that's red, Axtros, we loot his head and we head back to, you guessed it, Dustwaller Marsh. Then we are tasked with hunting down Rexxar once more, and I'm thinking, surely that's it. I've done countless dungeons, travelled around the world, killing dragons. What more could you possibly want from me? Back to Blackrock Spire. Ugh. So I join a group, and they're only killing the war chief, and they disband. Fantastic. So I join yet another group. This was actually a blessing in disguise. We kill Ren Blackhand for the 1623rd time, and well, the Shaman shoulders drop. And not just any, the elemental shoulders. That is insane for us, a massive upgrade, and now gives us 3 out of our dungeon set. We then summon the boss that killed our group last time, and this time we all spread out perfectly, and we kill the boss too. Only 1 person dies, but sometimes it just can't be helped. Which takes us back to the general, where we bring him down, and that, folks, is our achievement done. Oh wait, no it's not. Back to Rexxar. So we find him walking the lands once more, hand in the last quest, and now we get the Drakefire Amulet. This allows us access to Onyxia's Lair, another raid, something we can't do just yet. If you look at the XP bar, however, we're nearly 59. Time to finish off these levels. Back in our hometown, I stumble upon a quest that upgrades our dungeon gear, even though it's a small amount, but it definitely could be something we need to check out later on. I ended up going back to Blackrock Spire, the lower one this time, to just finish off the dungeon quests, as these places are also a fantastic source of XP. And here we hit our last level. We need to grind 59. And I'm not kidding, after clearing out this whole place and making it to the last boss, we're nearly halfway to 60. Insane, right? It's been a blast leveling so far. As I've basically experienced most of the dungeons Classic has to offer right now, I decide why not do a Scholomance as well. We get to Rattlegore, and well, it's not going great. Our healer is saying he's out, although we're still not dead yet. He runs away, letting the Warlock tank die, rather than healing him, as I'm pretty sure at how low of HP the boss is, we could have killed it. He then says,
Huntered.
And I mean, it was completely your fault. The hunter agrees with me. And then, I mean, just look at this chat. A typical dungeon experience. They then kick the hunter, I think. So I ask him to make sure that he didn't just leave. And he says they did kick him. Poor guy. I decided to just grit it out and stay with these guys to try and complete my quests. The shaman's just being super toxic throughout the whole thing and aggressive towards everyone. I don't know what's up with him, maybe just a bad day. We make it to the last boss, Dark Master Gandalin, and we just blast him. At least we managed to get the whole dungeon cleared, and oh damn, I think that's a super rare drop. A epic staff. Now it looks very good, but my gear is just too good too. I decide to wait and see and make sure I'm making the right choice here. So I ask the shaman if he needs it. He then tells me, no, but neither do you. So I thank him for telling me what he thinks I need. After Scholarmance, I end up being 2 bars off 60. With 2 dungeon quests, I believe that might just be enough to level me up. So I abandon practically every quest in my journal in hopes it is. I end up dying trying to take down an Alliance NPC that's probably meant for a whole raid, as he just chunks me down and he's got a lot of HP and just 3 shots me. Yeah, bad idea. With 1 bar to go now to max level. What better place to level up than Light's Hope Chapel? With our red gear, half naked orc, we talk to the little gnome who gives us enough XP to ding that beautiful level 60, conquering the world of Azeroth and bringing Antijax up to max level. What a journey this has been. But our journey to Master Season of Discovery isn't quite over yet. So you might be wondering, Antijax, how are you dead? What is that purple looking helmet you have on? What's changed? And these are all valid questions that I can sort of answer. So some of my footage has decided to go bye-bye and disappear. And that footage was me doing my first Molten Core with Prefox and some other people and clearing it super fast and bonking Ragnaros on the head within an hour. And we got some tier pieces, so yeah, our blessed character got even more blessed. But don't worry, I have got plenty of stuff I need to show you. Second, why are you dead? Alright, let's jump into it. So in classic WoW, you have your dungeon set you might remember me getting last episode, and I encountered an orc who could upgrade it. This is why I'm dead, and what we're in the middle of sort of doing right now. Here in Winterspring, we need to talk to this little rip-off merchant of an imp who sells us a fell elemental rod for 40 gold. Yes, 40 gold. Then after travelling the long lonely road back to Wintergrass, we can hand in a quest, which required us to beat down on some ghosts. Our next part takes us to the Burning Steppes, where we now need to loot a magma core, so already I am travelling across the whole world, but I really like this about Classic Era. The world feels so alive and meaningful. As we arrive, of course a rogue has just killed the mob I need, and disappears before I could even take him out. But at the moment, I'm letting Alliance survive. At least for now, as I'm just so focused on my objective. We kill the Magma Lord Bok and get ourselves a core. After a long journey then back to Tanaris, we hand in the quest in Gadgetstan to give us the next one. This is for the rod we bought from that little imp earlier. As we already have it, we can instantly turn it in, allowing us to now go back to Orgrimmar. Here we can obtain our first set of upgrades. After spending a lot of gold, Mokvar gives us a upgrade on our gloves and belt, giving us actually our best in slot for this phase belt, and some epic dungeon gloves for some really nice upgrades, even if they are minor. Gear wise, we got the Briarwood trinket from the dungeon, and we bought our best in slot relic from the vendor for 25 undermine reals, and we obviously got several pieces of tier gear, like the head, shoulders and wrist, so our gear is looking mighty good for a pretty much fresh level 60. Straight after this, I took on one of my first world bosses, Lord Kazak. He's in his own instance in the Tainted Scar, and I'm not sure if I knew this in SOD actually, but it's pretty cool. His model is insanely huge, like I can only see his Tauren style hooves, but the fight is very simple. You just really want to watch your mana and don't go and you stand there casting lava burst to his face for a couple of minutes. The world boss dies, and I soft reserved a helmet that actually dropped, and I have to roll against someone else. The reason I want this helmet is for something called fire resistance. I heard we might need it in the future, but mine also has it, so I'm not sure why I need to get this. The other shaman gives me a good luck in the chat, and that means I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose a roll now. My helmet is rolled out, I roll first spot on a 50, and he rolls a 91. Typical for me, but I will not complain with how lucky we've been with my shaman. So anyways, I heard there might be a brand new dungeon added to the game that I've never done before. In Felwood, if we speak to the nice troll lady that gave us a rune earlier on in our journey, she gives us a quest to get some Albeast Pineal gold glands. Probably said that wrong. So that's our next objective. So we head to the snowy zone of Winter Spring and we decimate the poor moonkins for their glands. I'm really sorry, fluffy chickens. Then back to Felwood to hand in the quest and we get something called the Shadowtooth Ward Illusion. I then found a group for a dungeon and it's in Ashenvale and it's where we first encounter Demon Fall Canyon. Honestly, something hit different about exploring a brand new content in a very old game that I've already played for so long. Something not even retail's grabbed for me recently. I was really intrigued. As you can probably guess by the name Demon Fall Canyon, we'll be fighting demons. Now from what I know, my best in slot trinket drops from the very first boss in here, who's none other than a giant tree called Grimroot. This was a very easy fight, you just don't stand in pools really, and we kill the boss but no trinket for me. Shortly after you engage with a second boss of the dungeon, the Destructor's Wraith. Now he seems to hurt with his mechanics, but as I have Riptide, I'm never worried about myself. The hunter in our group is doing very high damage as I'm trying to keep up with him but I just can't. We're hitting really hard though with our spells and I'm seeing big numbers so I'm happy with that. The boss dies and nothing for us. Then right back at the start of the dungeon spawns another boss. Zibbergob, a goblin mechanical machine with an imp driving it. Nice. Pretty easy once again, you don't stand in fire, and so far we're breezing through this place, but we all are a bit geared. You make your way through the canyon now, killing off demons and doing things before you enter a tree. A night elf home it looks like, that's been overrun by the Legion. The druids in here have gone absolutely insane and we've got to put them down. Pianus is the fourth boss, and from what I've gathered, these dread lashes are attached to you and you've got to kill them. I don't want to know what the lines are for or how it works, but we do it anyways with no issues. Pianus dies and he drops a trinket that acts as a PvP trinket. I definitely need this so rogues won't just kill me in a kidney shot every time, but so does the hunter, and we lose. We then engage to what seems to be the last boss, Dianthus the Seeker. The tank's tanking him some green gloop on the floor that you're probably not meant to, causing us to take a bit of damage. The boss also puts you to sleep before he decides to charge at me and start beating the shit out of me. I do, however, barely survive. We bring him down and he drops Dreadlord's Blade, so nothing for us. Then we encounter the actual final boss. It's none other than Hellscream. Well, a phantom of him. I must say it's a pretty cool dungeon and I recommend checking it out if you haven't. The boss fights are pretty simple too. He does some warrior things like charging and combos and leaves behind spinning ghosts of himself, but for some reason he decides to just nuke our feral cat and kill him. Poor kitty cat. I'm beating the hunter on damage this fight, so I'm happy with that too. But Hellscream obviously doesn't like this as he charges me and kills me, sabotaging me. We do kill the boss with the hunter barely beating me in damage, and we complete the dungeon even though I'm dead. He then drops the Shadow of Gorehowl, that obviously I want because it's Gorehowl. I need it for my off-spec, even though I don't have one. Just yet. And now we are the owner of the Gorehowl. While doing my dailies, an epic world BOE drops, and I don't win it. That would have been so helpful, as someone is saying it's about 200 gold on the auction house and I would have been so close to having my epic mount. The blue quests you see here are dailies you can do in the Searing Gorge that give around 50 gold a day, so it's not too bad to pop here and do them for some extra income. I head back to our home city of Orgrimmar anyways to continue with a dungeon quest line we started off the video doing. This requires me to spend practically all of my gold. I'm talking after buying materials, we go from 280 gold to a measly 53. That hurt my wallet tremendously. A priest then offers to make the item I need so I can actually afford to continue doing this quest, otherwise I can't even buy it. So I trade her hoping I ain't going to be scammed, and she makes me the enchanted leather. I ask her if a 10 gold tip is enough as I'm practically broke now, and the kind undead lady says sure. So after she makes me 20 enchanted leathers, we can now spend the last remaining of our 43 gold on the last items we need to do for this wallet draining quest.
I've got nothing left.
After get everything we need, we're now down to 17 gold. When we have the materials we need, we've got to head back to the Plaguelands outside of Stratholme. Here we can summon the ghost of Amphion Harmon. He tasks us with going inside Stratholme and rescuing someone. So I find a group of people after a while and we make our way to Baron Riverdare, the last boss of the dungeon. We burn him down very quickly with the two boomies absolutely flying on damage. I'm keeping up too. We kill him and unfortunately no mount for us as he does have a 1% chance to drop the very sought after mount. We rescue Ysida and receive her locket and we bid our our group farewell. We head back to the Ghost of Amphion, where he now requires all the materials we've already bought from the auction house earlier, saving us a trip to the bank. And now we are tasked with travelling the world of Azeroth once more to Dire Maul, a place I've yet to visit on my travels. You need a crescent key usually to access the part where we need to turn the quest in, but for yet another small fee of 10 gold, people sell their completed dungeons with access to this part. So I decide to pay the price for now to get the quest done. Now we have to collect 25 Olga war beads from the Olgas here. While I did pay for it, I figured I might as well grab all the world buffs here for use later on. I couldn't find a group for Dire Maul for the beads just yet, so I ran Demonfall Canyon a few more times trying to get my best in slot trinket. Our tank just ditched us, so enter Antijax the tank. I swapped some runes around, and for the first time ever I tried tanking. I've got no clue what I'm doing, I'm just trying my best, and even though we get the boss really low, I get slept in fire and die. My best is just not good enough, and I have no defense gear either, but I did try. The group decided to just leave it, and we part ways. After around 10 more runs of me killing the same 3 bosses over and over, the trinket Germinating Poison Seed finally drops, my best in slot for this phase apparently. I roll need, and I patiently wait as somebody's not rolling on it, and I'm starting to panic as nobody else really needs, but we do win it. And now I'm a very happy shaman. Our gear is coming along fantastic. Now with a group of people that are also on the bead quest, we head back to Dire Maul to start purging the Olgas there of their beads. We kill quite a few of them, but no beads seem to be dropping. Tesla Charger asks,
"Where them beads at?"
and I say, well, I guess it's no sum for me today then. And Big Clapper replies with,
"In they ass."
nice. We eventually loot 1 bead, yep, 1, and we need 25, only 24 more to go. But all of a sudden, way more start dropping for us, and before we know it, we loot up to 11 in no time. Tesla Charger then asks,
"Which one of you is lucky as fuck? Da fuck."
and Big Clapper says,
"I stepped in shit today, I think I am."
and to be honest, I tell them that I stood in something last night too, so we think we figured out the way to be lucky in World of Warcraft. So I tell them I'm gonna go do that before I raid again. The conversation then takes a very weird turn. Maybe it's from killing all the Olgas, but Big Clapper is sure enjoying this a bit too much for my liking. We now have to re-enter and reset the instance to respawn the Olgas, and around half an hour later, we get the 25 beads we need. Now I ask what we've got to do next, and Tesla asks Big Clapper if he's got the materials he needs, but he says he wasn't expecting to do it today. That's why I always keep the materials on me. Thankfully, Tesla has the key, so we head back to the Night Elf to hand it in, who gives us a pretty solid necklace. Then we need to grab an essence. So we cross a dungeon and we kill a banshee and we grab the essence. I think we're close to the end of this quest now. Big Clapper get our hearthstones and we're like, yeah, we've finished this. Until we have to go all the way to Blackrock Mountain. Then we are ambushed by some spectral stalkers as I'm just trying to peacefully hearthstone, but they are absolutely no match for me. We cross the map once more and we enter the war zone that is Blackrock Depths, thanks to a summon from our group that I call Legends. And immediately I'm attacked by a hunter whose HP just doesn't move from me, and I die. And he's not so legendary. We then wait for our old friend Big Clapper to get on the same quest as us. After we are all once again back together, we start the event that reminds me of a Coliseum. That's probably because it is one, and we kill some elites. Then we have a weird PvP kind of fight against some NPCs, and there's an annoying mage in the back, blizzard farming us and ice blocking, being a typical mage basically. We take her down and we finish off the quest, and that is that. We all say our goodbyes, and it's been a fun experience with these people, but our time has come to an end. As I try to leave the dungeon, I'm set upon by the Rabid Alliance as usual, and it's just a typical thing, and this is why I always kill them too. I decide to pay 10 gold to travel around the world at the speed of light, as there's always people offering their travel services for a small fee. After doing dailies and all these quests, we're back up to 100 gold. A group of level 1 female naked orc ladies summon me, and that's just saved me a huge amount of travelling time. As I'm wandering back to the quest giver, I'm also beat down by a woman called Demetria and all her minions, and I'm having a rough time, I must say. I decide to just let all my armor go red and get resurrection sickness, as I see a night elf has done the same thing, so I give her a little nod and we make it back to Antion, who then gives us the quest to return back to Mokvar to get our items. So I head back to Orgrimmar and I speak to Mokvar to turn in this long and expensive quest chain, and now we get our best in slot legs and some epic boots. The whole reason I did this quest chain was for my best in slot legs and belt, and we've accomplished that. There is a final step in this quest, but it's very expensive and we don't need to do it, and quite frankly I can't afford to do it right now. And here is how our gear is looking so far. A total of 58 item level with many epics and solid gear, but we still got a way to go. This takes us to our Molten Core raid, or MC, deep in Blackrock Mountains. The Firelord and his minions await us. There is a lot, and I mean a lot of trash in this raid. I think I heard that Blizzard made this raid in a week or a few days before the original classic vanilla came out. But we then take on our first boss, Lucifron. I have potions and I have world buffs, so I'm expecting these bosses to just melt. Let's see how much damage we can inflict. Mechanic wise, this raid is very simple. It's usually Tremor, Decurse, Don't Stand in stuff. Lucifron we pull, and I can just see from my numbers, this boss is melting. We are hitting 4,000 lava bursts. This is literally a 10 to 15 second fight. Some really good gear drops that I want, tier gloves and a necklace, but we're gonna have to wait and see what we can grab at the end. The next boss is Magmador. Here it's just a tank and spank, and we throw down a Tremor totem so we don't get feared. Don't stand in fire, and the off tank picks up his little puppies, and that's about it. Once again, no deaths and no problem, as our damage is just so high with all these potions and world buffs. More shaman gear drops, but this stuff is under soft reserve, so I can't roll for them. You honestly spend more time on trash and talking than you do on the actual boss fights themselves, but it does make the raid go a lot more smoothly. Luckily for you guys, I just do a quick snip. And boss number 3, Gehenna and his minions. This fight is just about dispelling and not standing in rain of fire. A familiar strategy I'm sure you're aware of by now. The boss gets absolutely melted, but the tank does die and rip his world buffs. I also die, so thank God I forgot to unboon this fight. Booning and unbooning is an item that allows you to store your world buffs so you don't lose time on them, and you can activate them when and if needed. But the boss dies and he drops some shaman tier it seems, so we continue it. After that is Gar, the rock elemental, with his little rock sons and daughters. Another tank and spank fight really. You kind of stand in the wall until he dies so he doesn't send you flying across the room, but he does drop crap loot for us. The next boss, Baron Geddon, is a funner one. He's a fire elemental that'll make you a living bomb. If you don't move out of the raid, you can blow everyone up. Now I'm always incredibly tempted to do that, and maybe one day I will. But we easily kill him and no good loot. Shazra falls very shortly after, but no loot for our shaman once more, and it's not looking too great for us to be honest. The massive AoE fest that is Sulfur and Harbinger goes down the treat too, and we are blasting through this raid with only a few more bosses left until the main event. Yet again, zero loot for me, and I'm getting pretty sad as my chances at upgrades are starting to slim. We then destroy Golmag the Incinerator, a giant molten fire elemental, and on this boss I'm actually doing high damage for once. He falls, my chest piece that I soft reserved finally drops, but there's 2 other people too that have soft reserved it, which has got me a little bit nervous. Now we need to take down another AoE boss, Majordomo Executus. Did I say that right? You don't actually kill this boss, but that adds around him. And thanks to a solid group of pumpers, we bring him down quickly, with 1 death allowing us to finally take on the last boss of the raid, the Firelord Ragnaros, an iconic boss. Just before we go, the leader starts rolling out a few pieces of loot. First up is the tier gloves for Shaman. I make this silly mistake of rolling first, and we roll a low 23 losing them. He then rolls out the necklace, and I wait this time before rolling a massive 9. Yeah, 9. Fantastic. The boots then come out and I roll first, and we actually win them with a massive 63 roll, giving us another tier piece, which is fantastic. Then we start the fight with a Firelord. He kills Majordomo and then comes to fight us. The fight is sort of a longer one, but mechanically once again it's pretty simple. You just pump him until he hits a certain percentage, and after that he disappears. Then he summons up little fire elementals that you have to kill, but you don't want to be close to him when you do, as they go boom. We lose a few people during this part, but now we are on the last push. I see people starting to die to the meteors that are now coming down from Ragnaros. I'm out of mana and I really can't do anything without Shamanistic Rage. A tank then dies and the boss is really low. Then the second tank dies and uh-oh, we're in shit. I run for the life of me while I'm still doing damage, but we are the heroes of the Horde and we bring down Ragnaros in a very clean kill. I wish I could tell you we won some more loot, but we didn't win anything. Everything good was already reserved, but we do trade in our molten boots for the Earth Fury Walkers, now giving us a powerful 4-set bonus, making our lightning bolts have a 35% chance when they crit to reset lava burst and make it instant. Basically our rune times 2. So now I want to take you on a whirlwind of bosses, loot, and just catch you up to the latest point we're at in our journey. We took down the dragon in her lair, Onyxia. In fact, we took it down several times. I didn't realise at the time, but my add-on would play the audio from a YouTube video from several years ago. and it scared me. Then it made me laugh. We was nearly top DPS on this fight too, but I did die. In fact, on my next kill of her, I died again, showcasing my insane skills at dying. This time I soft reserved a cloak called the Saffron Drape, and what do you know, it actually drops. I'm the only one that reserved this too, giving us a solid epic cloak upgrade over the blue one we had. Not bad. On my last kill of her, I decided to try and soft reserve her head, which always drops obviously, as she has a head. Only me and 2 others do this. The head is then rolled out and somebody rolls a 16, a super low roll. Then someone rolls a 14 and we roll a 14 too. I type, are you kidding me? Everybody in the raid then laughs at us and I say, yeah, I'm uninstalling. What a terrible roll. I also go back to the world bosses, first killing Kazakh once more, but diddly squat for us. Then I take on Azurigos. He's a blue dragon who I've yet to show you yet. This is an awful fight for spellcasters as he puts up a reflective shield. That means you can kill yourself with it. But he also drops a best in slot caster dagger. I think warriors with shield slam can purge this, but I'm not 100% sure on that. He doesn't drop the dagger for us, so nothing here. I did then kill Kazakh once again and we actually managed to win the fire resistant piece this time, the infernal head cage, which apparently is really good for my fire resistant set. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm trying to get the gear that I need to, so that was nice. And then the last thing I really need to talk to you about is the loot I got in a few Molten Core runs. Well, the one I had a very good run in, where I managed to win my best in slot shield, mainly because I'm the only shaman using a shield in the whole raid, but it always feels nice to get such a great item. And I also got the tier belt that I don't need for the moment, but maybe it's going to come in handy in the future. On to the most recent things I've done in WoW, and where Antijax is at in his journey in Season of Discovery. Recently they released Phase 5, bringing Blackwing Lair and Zul'Gurub to the game, and it's time to experience them. We make our way into the lavish troll empire and we are just murdering practically everything. A lot of coins and things called bijous drop and I don't know what they're for, but everybody's needing on them, so I proceed to do the same. Maybe I'll need them in the future too. The first boss in here is a bat lady thing. She doesn't do much as most of classic mechanics are actually simple, but she does in fact silence us, which can be annoying, and she summons an army of bats that you AoE down. But we kill her no problem and I'm competing for top damage now, which is great. Then a giant ghost bat lower spawns and I check out the loot and it seems as though it's about equal to Molten Core gear. So upgrading wise, I'm not entirely sure what we can get in this place. I speak to the bat and he gives me a boon. It's a buff that heals myself for 5% of the damage I deal, so that's a nice little thing. The second boss here is another high priest. This time it's a snake or a serpent, so a lot of poisons, but as I'm a shaman with poison cleansing totem, I come in super handy this fight. We once again bring down the snake priest with no issues whatsoever, and I think we've got a solid group. In this version, it's only a 10-man raid, so it's actually pretty fun to do with a small amount of people. This boss drops some sort of tier token, and it's for shaman, so I roll need and I roll a high 57 as the other 2 people roll below me. The leader then for some reason gives it to the rogue instead of me, so I put question marks and he says shit, sorry, and he asks the rogue to trade it to me, which he kindly does. Then the other shaman says oops, I forgot to roll, and asks if he can roll now. The leader lets him roll and then he wins it, beating me with a high 84, so I've got to trade it back to him now. The warlock then says easy in the chat, and this is bullshit. But guess what happens to this little warlock? With all of his world buffs, he gets mind controlled, and the raid pounces on him, and I finish him off with a flame shock. Ease. He then says,
WTF, you fucking assholes.
Oopsie. Moving on. If you like spiders, you're going to love this boss. It's a spider lady boss, with a lot of webs and eggs lying about. Another very easy fight for our group, and I'm just pumping out damage. And you just kill her and her ads. It's really simple. And I think Zul'Gurub might just be a catch-up raid at this point. We end up finding a thing called a punctured voodoo doll that's only for shamans. So I roll on that and I beat the other shaman to it. This brings us to the Blood Lord Mandakir. Now, this group had no idea how to deal with this boss. People died as if you moved during gaze or you cast spells, the boss practically kills you. You do get resurrected by ghosts however, but our group didn't know if you're supposed to take the res or stay dead, so it's safe to say we actually die. Yeah, we got destroyed. We try him again after people said they've watched videos and we've explained what to do. They want us to nuke the raptor, which then enrages the boss, increasing his damage. Then the tank dies. Then the other tank dies, and yeah, we wipe again. The group decides to leave this boss for later and go for the tiger boss because apparently the buff you get is huge. So we engage with Fake Out, the tiger boss, and the gist of this fight is they've all got to die at the same time. So another pretty easy fight. We managed to kill all of them at the same time, and this then activates stage Mage 2, where he turns into a tiger and just beats down on you. It's no issue for us though, as we bring him down very easy. Loot wise, nothing for us, that's an upgrade, but I'm happy to still be experienced in this raid anyways. We then get the tiger buff. It basically gives you haste, like a mini bloodlust. That for sure will help with a raptor boss, right? Wrong. We get him incredibly low, but because people are not taking the resurrects from Ghosts and we're killing the raptor, he proceeds to kill our raid once again. I take it upon myself now to explain to everyone yet again what to do, and we go again. The same culprits, the warrior and Nerino, die once more, and they don't take the resurrect. And unfortunately, this just not helping some people. But like heroes, we bring down Bloodlord Mandakir and can finally move on. The warrior, who's constantly dead, then says,
Easy.
Sure it is, mate. He drops another token thing, and I actually think this is really good for us. The warrior is saying he didn't rest because the boss becomes much hard, but my friend, that's not how it works. So I try to explain it to him again, but he says,
I have stopped DPS, I die.
Poor confused warrior. The warlock then says,
I think he's French and his English is not his best, so it's probably best to try not explain.
And the mage replies with,
If you need a translation I can.
And the hunter says,
Chat GPT for the win.
We then roll out the tabard. Zupa rolls an 86 and we then roll a 87 beating him, and we receive the item. The shaman then offers me a massive 250 gold for the item, but I don't know if it's the best in slot option for me at this point, and if he's offering that amount of gold it might be, so I decline. I'll probably regret that. The next boss in our onslaught of Zul'Gurub is a panther boss. I'm just referring to these by the animal names if you can't tell. She's a bit of a pain in the arse as she disappears and summons hundreds of panthers, and while my AoE damage is great, I go in very fast. It's not a hard fight, so to speak, so like clockwork, our warrior friend dies on this boss, as is tradition, and so does the warlock. But we killed the priestess anyhow, and now we're very close to the end boss. El Pang, the warrior, has died that many times, his gear is broke. I mean, look at him. I couldn't stop laughing at the naked orc, but that's bad, as now he needs to go and repair, and it'll take a little bit longer for us to finish this. Our rogue also decides to Alt F4, so while we fill the spot for him, I go to Booty Bay to repair too. I also purchased my best in slot relic for 2500 mine coins, giving us some more gear. We end up inviting a Boomy, somebody's friend, for the last two bosses, so we're ready to start blasting now. This boss is an undead boss, I guess, and he's got two gnome slaves dancing with all his trolls. Poor people. This fight is mainly killing totems as he mind controls people, so that's what we do. The warrior actually lives this fight and I'm really proud of him. And we bring down Jindo, leaving only one boss left to fight. Now, another one of these tabard things drops, and I'm thinking, yeah, I should have took that 250 gold. But he doesn't win it, the druid does. Poor guy. Well, I did think it was the last boss, but we have to kill Grillek first, a big angry troll who pulverizes El Pang once more and he dies again. You gotta kite him when he gets big and mad, or he just one-shots you. But we bring him down anyway, and he drops his blood. Now, when I looted the shaman item earlier, this is one of the ingredients we actually need to make the item, so that's nearly done too. But it's time for the main event of this raid, Hacker, the Serpent. We somehow ninja pull him while killing some ads, and nobody here knows tactics once more, or understands them as the raid's only just come out. So apparently we need to nuke the sons of Hacker, who we have CC'd, and then he drains us, but as we are poisoned, we hurt him. So after a brief rundown of tactics, we pull, my totem instantly breaks the CC, and the fight still seems to be going okay. That is until none of us kill the ad in time, so he drains our blood, healing himself and killing me in the process, and it's not long until we all wipe. So we res, buff, and pull again. This time the ad is crowd controlled far away from us, so we can't break it until we need to. He siphons our blood, this time we're all poisoned, and we do the mechanic correctly, but he does mind control people too, and if a tank dies, he's apparently untauntable, so luckily we seem to be doing okay. We bring him really low before all of a sudden our tank does die, then the Hacker decides to run havoc on our raid, wiping us again. We do yet another pull and we get him low yet again, but it's just not happening. People are not doing tactics, people are dying, getting mind controlled, not getting poisoned, and it's all just a mess. And at this point, we've been in here for like 3.5 hours, it's practically over with. We agree to do one last try. With the mage now AFK, the warrior then says,
I can try chat GPT if my English is no correct for good translate.
And I'm so confused to what's going on. Can we even finish this raid? And on our last pull, as it's going so well, our druid decides to press Starfall on our tank who's mind controlled, and with no battle res, it's a chain event of deaths. We all stay alive, fighting for our lives, trying to bring down this annoying serpent. We just need to somehow stabilize and kill the ad, get the poison and finish the boss. We do get poisoned and our other tank gets mind controlled, meaning Hacker goes on a rampage, killing people as the tank can't tank him now. And as soon as he's not mind controlled, he gets instantly killed, leading people to leave the group, and that is that for Hacker and for Antijax in Zul'Gurub. Until next time, where we will enter this place once more to bring him down on his hardest difficulty, and we'll dive into Blackwing Lair as we try to finish off mastering Season of Discovery. I set off on a mission to master Season of Discovery. We've had some highs and lows, and we've done all the raids on our journey to max level. We've PvP'd and dominated the Alliance, and we finally hit level 60. Now we need to finish off every max level raid, collect every single rune and master Season of Discovery in the final push of Antijax's journey. Jumping straight into our journey today with a raid. Well, I died running across the zone just as some typical bugs that decide to eat me. As I'm running back to my body, because after all this is classic and you have pretty bad graveyard spots, I am kicked from the group after travelling the world to get here. So I asked the leader, why did you kick me? I'm here, but I died. And he replies with,
"We going now, man."
So I tell him, no, I'm here. I just got killed by Elite. There's not much I can do about that. So I ask him to re-invite me and I'll walk into the raid. So he re-invites me and it looks like the raid is back on the menu. Until I see a massive Alliance army outside of the raid who instantly beat the shit out of me and kill me once more. I'm probably getting kicked again, but it's not my fault. I then tell him that a massive Alliance raid killed me outside and I can just walk in, hoping it buys me a bit of time to corpse run across the map once more. Luckily for me, not everybody's there yet, so we make our way back to the raid and we enter the Crystal Vale, where I can't see any bosses yet, just a couple of elementals. We then stand around for about another 10 minutes or so waiting for other people, so I'm still not sure why he removed me earlier if the raid's not here, but moving on. He then asks the raid if anyone can heal, and it turns out the leader hasn't invited any healers. Well, apparently he's got just one, so this is just fantastic. Then the chat decides to start going in on the leader, and they all start arguing, a typical Antijax's pug experience. Some people say that they'll swap runes around and heal. Other people start leaving. The leader and people are just arguing, and I'm having the time of my life witnessing this entertainment. After around, and I'm not kidding, another 20 minutes to half an hour, we're finally full and we summon the world boss, Prince Thunderan, the Thunder Fury boss. Epic. We start the fight finally, getting to experience this raid. As I'm taking a bit of chunk of damage from a debuff, nobody's getting healed. And just like I thought, half of the raid instantly die, while the boss's HP has barely moved. From there is no chance of this pull killing it, and we obviously wipe. People start leaving the group instantly, and one by one they go. A lot of people leave, but we still have a healthy amount left. The leader then says,
"Half raid left, GJ, all who wipes."
And leaves. What a fantastic start to the day. I'm not one to quit though, so I find a new group hoping to bring down the prince. A kind mage is trading out nature potions to help with a fight, and people are explaining tactics for the boss. We then kill the ads surrounding the boss, and I think we're ready to go. This time we are all spread out, and it looks to be going much better than our last attempt. But it seems the healers are struggling as we're all pretty low, but we are stabilising. Damage wise, we look to be doing very well, so that's a good sign, but we're pretty geared at the moment too. The fight seems pretty simple. Don't stand in lightning clouds, don't get cleaved by chain lightning, and drain his mana if you can to reduce his damage output. And then you also kill ads when they come. Unfortunately, this pull, while we do get in very low, our tanks die, leading to somebody leaving and a wipe. Fantastic. I'm actually going to kill this at all. The leader then gathers some more reinforcements and we get ready to go again with a few more people now. We execute mechanics perfectly and we finally bring the boss very low with everybody alive. I'm still pumping on the damage meters and we bring down Prince Thunderate. He also drops a legendary dormant Wingkiss blade. I think that's probably something to do with Thunder Fury. I'm not 100% sure though. And a ancient belt, which is tier for our shaman. Somebody in the chat asks if he hard reserve Thunder Fury as well, and they just say it's a quest item, so I think only somebody on the quest can loot this. But onto the loot for me. The ancient belt is rolled out and winning this would be very nice. I see a huge 59 and then a 97 roll before we roll a 96. Damn. Very good roll, but it's just not enough and we lose the item. And that's it for our first raid. That's 1 out of 3 down. This takes us back to Zul'Gurub. A place where last time we could not bring down the last boss, Hacker. It was just too much for a week 1 uncoordinated pug. Which brings me to this raid where we are taking down Hacker first? This is classed as hard mode, something I've yet to do or experience, and considering we died on him last time a fair few times, I'm a bit nervous about this. People ask if we're doing him first, and it definitely looks like it. We get ready and pull. Turns out on hard mode, he summons aspects of the bosses still alive based on their animals, like bats and tigers, etc. We then reset the boss for some reason, and the actual reason was our tank DC'd, so that makes sense. I also popped all of my cooldowns, so now I don't have them for the next attempt. So we pull him again, and we're not getting poisoned. I'm not sure if you have to on hard mode. One of our tanks do die, meaning Hacker just stops blasting our raid, and we choose to reset him once more. Attempt 3 now. First we have some spiders, the spawn of Mari I think it's called, to deal with while we're facing Hacker. We get him to around 30% and everybody's alive. We deal with the mechanics quite nicely, but Hacker just decides to MC one of our tanks and eat alive the other. We use our battle res to restabilize and it's looking pretty good. I'm pumping out as much damage as I can, but Hacker decides to once again just kill people, leading to a chain of people dying, and we got really close once more. I'm once again now feeling like killing him just isn't going to happen for poor old me. So we res, rebuff, and go again. We deal with the spiders very nicely, and everything seems to once again going very well. We all get drained of our blood healing the boss and taking a little bit of damage in the process. One of our tanks gets mind controlled, but honestly, we seem to be just managing. We just keep on blasting the serpent, and he actually doesn't really do anything else. I don't know if it's where I'm stood, but mechanic wise, nothing much happened, and we had a very clean pull, and I finally get to bring down Hacker on hard mode too, with only suffering 1 death. Loot is left for free-for-all, and the items have an effect on them now called Bloodied, giving them an illusion that looks really good, I must say. Loot-wise, not much usable for us, apart from needing the Heart of Hacker, which we unfortunately don't win either. But I'm happy we finally brought him down anyway, giving us a total out of 2 out of 3 raids already completed for phase 5. But there is still a lot more for me to cover and show you. We did clear the rest of Zul'Gurub, but nothing of note dropped, and the boss is really easy for our group. Although I did finish off a couple of quests that I had while I was in there, which then leads us to swimming over to your Jomba Island and handing them in. This is where I realised what the Bijous are finally used for. They give you reputation tokens, but I don't really need anything from these guys, so I think my journey in Zul'Gurub for now is done. For our last raid we need to complete is Blackwing Lair, where the Black Dragon Nefarian awaits us. In order to do this, we need to get attuned to the raid. First we team up with a shaman who helps us bring down an elite who drops us the Black Hands command. Next we buy for a small price of 10 gold a completed lockout of Upper Blackrock Spire, so we can just Gulf Wolf right to the end boss, and here we can click the Drakath brand. Even though I can't read the text at all, it's just pure white, and just like that we are attuned to Blackwing Lair, very easy. So for this raid, the first run, I'm not really going to talk about it, as it was just a super smooth experience. Now in here you have class specific items, things like this, the hardened Elementium Slag, that I was going to SR, or soft reserve, but I decided against it, because surely it's not going to drop, right? Wrong, it does drop, and only me and one other shaman needs this shit. But I do want to talk about one boss, Flame Gore in Eben Rock. For this raid you need an item called the Onyxia Hide Cloak, so you don't get one shot by certain mechanics thanks to its secondary effect. So if you're tanking, you definitely need this. On the dragons, you have 2 groups at each side. When you reach 3 on the debuff, you swap to the other side. Pretty simple, right? We've all got loads of world buffs, so we really don't want to die. Until the tank gets one shot, as he has no cloak, causing the dragons to obliterate half of the raid, including me losing all of my buffs and basically wiping the raid, with actually only a few lucky survivors who are just mercilessly killed after by the ads. What a little shit. Oh well, stuff happens. Moving on. So I'll quickly do it, snip, and we kill the last boss Nefarian in a very quick, easy and clean raid. So that is 3 out of 3. Now I'm going to show you the loot, but don't worry, I will be coming back to this raid because my next runs didn't go as well as this. So let's talk loot. The ancient boots are rolled out. I wait and roll a massive 91 before somebody beats me with 100, wasting my shield roll, ouch. However, because there were 2 boots dropped, we managed to at least get 1, so that's a good start. Then the main item, the Shaman quest item that gives us our best in slot shield. The other Shaman rolls a 54 before I roll a shitty 12, losing it to a Resto Shaman. That sucks and I'm super gutted about it. We do, however, win our best in slot legs as we're the only elemental Shaman in the raid, so that's also a consolation prize with a massive massive 11 roll. The ancient helmet, we don't win either, rolling super low. Same for the ancient gloves, we roll another 11. With super shit rolls, my luck has gone pretty bad, but I can't complain as we did in fact win some items. But then the ancient shoulder pads are rolled out and we roll a high 65. Then we're beaten by someone with a 67. Fantastic. And that was our first Blackwing Glare, so we came out with a couple of items, so not too much of a bad run. I also then killed the prince once more and he dropped my belt, but we didn't win it. Before we go back to raiding, I can't say I've mastered Season of Discovery without even having a max level profession, can I? For most of you that I watched for a while, you know I took engineering, and over the course of this series, I've slowly here and there been leveling it up. And well, I think it's about time for us to hit the max of 300 now. I've been slowly saving gold to try and get an epic mount, but there's just always something I need to buy in this game. So for now, let's focus on engineering. After spending a pretty little penny on the auction house, we can craft some items. Our engineering is 249, so we technically only need one skill point to learn the last of our rank. I decide to just make as many mithril casings as I can and try and rank it up. When the crafting is green, you'd only then get a low chance to gain a skill point. So we only managed to get to 252, but it's better than nothing. Now we need some more recipes to make this as cost efficient as possible. We've outgrew all of the engineering trainers in Orgrimmar, they can't help us anymore. So we have to travel across the world to Tanaris. Here is where we can learn a few more recipes, and lucky I bought some mats with me. After crafting all of my dense stones, I'm only at 260, and I'm confused on what I need to do now. So a quick little search on Google, and I realise I've got to go and buy some patterns to progress. More gold. So after a little while later, I bought a pattern for thorium widgets and could start crafting once more. This puts us to around 290 skill, and then finally we can craft some thorium shells, hunter ammunition, putting us to the max level of 300 and maxing out our profession. And I feel a bit proud, even if my wallet and dreams of a fast mount is fading once more. The plus side of this is I can sell all the stuff I've crafted to make a little bit of income back. While doing this, I opted to go to Molten Core to try and snag any more upgrades I can. Now I soft reserved a weapon called a Sorcerous Dagger. In fact, I'm the only one to reserve this. So as we kill Shazra with my sacrifice, because I died on the boss as always, I totally meant to do it by the way, so the item would drop. It does, meaning we can finally replace our Sunken Temple one we've had forever, and it's a pretty sweet weapon. This then brings us to another Blackwing Glare raid. This run was also a pretty smooth one. Don't worry, we're getting to the juicy run soon. I just always want to show you my progress with Antijax and any items I get. So let's talk about the most important part, loot. When you kill Nefarian with 3 affixes, just like Zul'Gurub, the weapons have an enchant showcasing your achievements, and you also get extra chests giving you plenty more loot. We even get an Ash Candy drop, fantastic. A cool staff of the Shadow Flame drops as well, and it looks amazing. Then a weapon is rolled out, Lochemere, and it's got a huge 86 spell power. We roll a high 86 and nobody rolls higher than us, meaning in one day I got 2 weapon upgrades and one has an insane amount of stats. Somebody also wins an Ash Candy with a 23 roll, so sorry to all you melee users, that one probably stings. I then roll on the head of Nefarian and I roll a super high 86 once again. What is this roll look? And we win it, but actually after checking what item it gives us an offhand, which for me as a shaman isn't that great. So I decide to be a good Samaritan and pass it on. And finally, when it comes to the chess piece, which I really wanted to win, I roll super low, as is life. We then sit on the throne and contemplate our journey so far. It's been a wild one, but it's still not over yet. I also won the tier shoulders, so we talked to a person who's totally not Nefarian, and now we have a 2 set, and we look pretty awesome. While travelling around the world, I obviously pick on the Alliance. World boss or not, on the ship, it's a constant war zone of PvP, so I take out high levels and low levels alike. No mercy from me. And here is how our gear is looking. 2 sets of Molten Core gear still, with now a 2 set of Blackwing Lair gear as well. We've got really good gear, just a few more items I want before Antijax can rest his head. In the zone of Searing Gorge is where you can do dailies each day. These give a total of around 40 to 50 gold, and I need to start doing these consistently if I actually want to get an epic mount. We're up to about 550 gold and we need a total of 800, so it's definitely within reach. I then join a group for Onyxia's lair to try and get either a chest piece or the head of Onyxia. We slay the dragon for the 100th time and she drops her head, of course. I have 2 rolls to try and win this item, but other people are definitely wanting it too. The head is rolled out and I roll a 49. Then my second roll, I roll a 100. Yep, 100. We win the head. When we turn this in, we get 5 gold. And I'm like, wait, where is the item? But it's actually a follow-up quest. This gives us a Dragon Slayer's Signet, a huge upgrade over our current blue one, and our deed is celebrated by everyone in Orgrimmar. We killed the prince once more, and unfortunately our luck still isn't that great here as we don't win the Ancient Bell even though it drops. Maybe next time. We then slain the Brood Mother once more, and my Molten Chest Piece finally dropped, something I've been dying to get ever since I've been level 60. When it's finally rolled out, I've got a 50-50 chance of getting it. DJ's rolls a 69, and I roll a 31. Fantastic. But I now want to take you on a worldwide journey of runes. Runes are the thing in Season of Discovery that give you extra abilities and passives, and we've only got 20 of them. I tried to find as many naturally as I could, but we are still lacking so many. So now with a slight idea of where to go, it's time to travel around the whole world collecting our runes, and apparently we've got to get 37. Our first rune we want to get is here in Tanaris. By interacting with a totem, we get turned into a ghost wolf, making us take more damage. Thankfully, we're a higher level though, so we just run from one side all the way to the other. We see a chest spawn in, and open it and looting it gives us a rune of Rolling Thunder, a massive DPS increase in raids, allowing our lightning charges to gain stacks and consuming them with Earth Shock. There's also a second rune in Tanaris we can get as well. By slaying warlocks and bandits, we can get the Colded Warlock notes. We then need the cipher to combine these, and I had to slaughter quite a few of the Waste Wonders, but eventually it does drop. We decipher the notes, and this gives us the deciphered Warlock notes. We then summon an elite Void Walker, an enraged one, and we kill it with ease as we loot the rune of Mental Dexterity, so when we deal damage with Storm Strike, we gain attack power equal to intellect. It's an enhancement rune, but it still gives us a total of 21. We can pick up a breadcrumb quest in the Thousand Needles, because a lot of these runes are long and requires us to move a lot. We grab a quest called Elemental Aid here in Freewood Post. Then we head to the lavish green zone of Feralus. The rain was pouring down in this zone. It was first thing in the morning here in England, and I had a coffee, and I was just so cozy and chilled doing this. We headed to a campfire, and here is an old crate that we loot to give us a key. We then travel to the waterfall, and I see a very low level shaman struggling to try and take out the elementals. So I help him out because I'm a very kind person, but running into this guy will actually work in my favour too. I make sure to kill all the elementals around him, and then I loot the old chest at the bottom, giving us a rune of Tidal Waves. This summons more elementals, but I can take care of them no problem. Rune of Tidal Waves is a healing rune, so when we cast Chain Heal or Riptide, it gives us some nice benefits to our other heals. There's a second rune in Feralus that requires 2 people, so I asked Mappy if he'd like to get it, and he wants to. Now he's only level 30, so we've definitely got to stick to the road to avoid danger. I also go into Ghostwolf too to protect him on our journey. After around 10 minutes across country, we start to head into land. I then try to kill as many mobs as I can that are just trying to kill poor Mappy. We get really close before he does get sniped, but thankfully I have a resurrection spell. This rune requires us using Lightning Shield, both of us, then clicking the totem and killing some NPCs until a Whirling Tempest spawns. Then we kill it, and here we can loot the rune of Static Shock, giving our lightning shield 9 charges. Me and Mappy then go our separate ways, and we continue through the zone of Feralus. We then arrive at the Desert Land of Desolace to get another item. This item's called the Corrupted Fire Totem that drops off an elite mob here. From here we need to travel to the dungeon area of Marudon, and I loot 2 tiers that are on both sides of the area. I head back to our main city to sell all the stuff I've collected as we approach a nice 650 gold, slowly creeping up on that epic mount. By speaking to Zor Lonetree, he then sends us off for the Corrupted Fire Totem. Now we need to fly to the zone of Mulgore and Thunderbluff. We head there, and I did tell you there's a lot of travelling, but there's also a separate rune here. It starts off with us having to collect 5 C4ium mining charges in the Venture Coal mine in Mulgore. We collect the 5 and we turn them into the Rogue Trainer, who's a Tauren from the future. And now we accept our summon, taking us to Blackrock Mountain and where our last Blackwing descent awaits. So far up to this point, the raids I have done have been very smooth experiences, apart from an odd issue here and there, and mainly we've been on Discord. This group, however, didn't want to use any of that, and we choose a black, blue and yellow debuffs. We know what the yellow and blue do, but the black one summons an egg or a dragon sometimes, and also this is going to make 2 bosses later on a lot stronger. The first boss is practically free. It's very easy, but I can see already the tanks are half AFK. They're not picking up the orb, and the leader is already having to argue with people. We're definitely in for a ride for this one, I can tell. A unstable chromatic drake spawns, and I think this is from the black dragon affix, but it's pretty easy to take down. It has just a bit of HP, but this boss is very easy, so we take it down no problems, although as we're not using world buffs and stuff, it takes a bit longer than usual. The second boss in here is Velastraz. I think I said that right, the Corrupted. This is a burn boss. If it gives you a debuff, it stacks, making you do an insane amount of damage, but you also slowly start to take an insane amount of damage, leading for you to die. We definitely have the damage for him, although one of our tank dies, leading to a lot of people slowly just getting destroyed. You can see from my damage and how much haste I have, I am blasting, but I'm a ticking time bomb before I'm gonna fall. The rogue was tanking him with evasion luckily, buying us valuable time, allowing us to kill the boss, but a very close call. And also, this raid, the guy has took 30, yes, 30 people. So up to the third boss. You have to have rogues deactivate pillars as you are slowed like 100% of the time. It's pretty annoying, I won't lie, but if done correctly, it's not too much of an issue. However, our group doesn't do it correctly, mass pulls everything, people die, and I must say it's not looking so good for us. Somebody in the chat puts
Pull Nefarian also.
and I'm just giggling to myself. So yeah, we wipe instantly on trash, fantastic. The next time we attempt this gauntlet of whelps goes a bit better. We do manage to slowly, and I mean very slowly, make our way through the corridors, and we arrive ready to fight the third boss. You basically fight him stacked in the wall, not being able to see your screen at all. We tell the hunter to pull the boss with his pet, but he just doesn't listen. About a minute later, I decide to take it upon myself to pull the boss and slowly walk to the corner. Now this boss drops the item I soft reserved, the hardened elementium slag. So let's see if we can get lucky. This boss is just a tank and spank basically. You can't really see what's going on at all, but you know you're doing your job if that's the case. We actually don't wipe on this boss and we somehow bring it down and it drops. The slag drops. I'm the only one that reserved it. I am really jumping for joy inside right now. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still gotta finish off the raid. Right, let's talk about the next boss. I fucking hate this boss. It took me forever to understand the mechanics, and quite frankly, I'm not sure if I still do. The leader spammed us with tactics, and I think people got information overload. So we pull Firemore, and he must be tanked against the wall in the other room. The tanks don't even bother taunting the boss at first, so he charges into the room. They don't face him against the wall. Then he shadow flames a raid, instantly killing half of us. The debuffs you can see here stack up. At 10 lightning, you explode, chaining it to other people, and the fire one you can reset by just staying out of line of sight. So the first attempt goes horrible. The leader immediately starts going off on people, calling them full mental, and I can see how this is going to go, as the raid and leader just start arguing with each other. I mean, I could make a 10-minute video solely based on these guys arguing, but I'll leave it at that. So we pull again. This time the tanks forget to taunt swap, causing Firemore to just come in the room and once again kill the raid. Wipe number 2. Attempt number 3. We've explained what to do, people get the gist of it now, I hope. I'm still figuring out how to deal with the electricity stacks because I'm not 100% sure myself what to do with them, but I do move away from people as I don't want to be the one to wipe the raid because we're probably going to die. And like clockwork, the tanks die, so Firemore comes in the room and beats the shit out of us once again. Luckily for you guys, I can just do a snip to each pull, but my god, in between buffing, resin, running back, and the constant shit talking before pulls, we're at this boss for what seems like an eternity. Pull 4. We actually get him to about 50% before half the raid dies once more. Mind you, we have 30 people and this boss is supposed to be done with less. With half of the raid dead once more, we keep trying to push it anyways as we bring him very low. It must be about 10-15%, but with so many dead, it's just not going to happen and we wipe for a total of 4. Now, remember when I did my engineering to 300? Well, it's about to come in handy as we need a repair bot and only people with a skill of 300 can make it. But we say if we don't wipe, then we're not going to need it. So let's go pull number 5. Once again, our whole raid is decimated by this boss. People just don't understand what to do. I'm still alive and it looks like we have sort of a healthy amount of people left. We just keep absolutely pumping him and then people start falling. It's going to be a close call. I then fall because I think I'm just zapped by somebody else's lightning and it's up to the heroes to finally finish him off. And they do. Finally, after a very long time. Thanks to the countless deaths, the leader trades me a repair bot, which I happily use to help the raid progress, and it's nice having 300 engineering. The leader says, make sure to repair now, because if you ask to repair later, you're getting loot banned. Keep that in mind. For the time being, we kill some trash and we start moving towards the next bosses, where it's 2 dragons. It's these guys are buffed apparently too this week. So I told you the mechanics of the fight earlier about that you have different debuffs and then you swap over, but these are on hard mode now. So they give you a debuff called go or stop, where if you have go, you've got to move, and stop, you stop. I think you get the gist. Unfortunately for us, our tank just doesn't get healed and dies. Meanwhile, a lot of people are dying to the stop and go mechanic too, and this is definitely a wipe. People are dead and the leader and his friend are going insane at the tank, poor guy, but he was failing mechanics. XYZ then says he needs a summon as his gear is fully red, so the leader just kicks him from the group. So we buff up and go again, and I feel like I've been in this raid all day at this point. I just want to kill these bosses and be done with it. So this pull seems to be going very well, until the gold debuff kills half of our raid once more, and the dragons are so close to each other we're getting both debuffs, meaning it's just another wipe. The leader invites XYZ back, which I guess is kind of nice of him, and starts rolling out some loot. I'm just waiting for my sweet shield to finally come up. One of our healers then just goes completely AFK, so we just keep the loot going. The hardened Elementium slag is finally rolled out, and of course we win it because we're the only one that reserved it, giving us our best in slot shield. At least I thought it would, but we've got to earn this, but more on that soon. So we pull again, and what do you know, we all fucking die again. Like, I don't even know what's going on. We get the bosses low with most of the raid alive, but people just don't know how to stay still or move with a debuff, leading to tanks dying and we all just die. Now the leader finally asks everyone to unboon, which means activate your world buffs as we're getting desperate. I accidentally forgot to do this, so I haven't used them all raid. So we pull again with some of the raid unbooning and some not. We hit the point in the boss fight where people usually die and we're all alright, with the leader saying it's finally a kill, GG. Until the bosses get very low, the tank randomly loses aggro, leading to both dragons entering the raid and killing people, leading everyone to get massive stacks, and then the raid instantly dies with the boss being at around 15,000 HP. We all wipe, losing all of the world buffs, and if I remember to unboon, maybe just maybe he would have died. But yeah, the whole raid dies again. Hunters didn't use their trank shot either, druids didn't use their combat reses apparently too. The leader then types
GG losers,
and leaves the raid. I am really sorry I forgot to unboon. We did try once more with a few less people, but it was just a complete waste of time, as if we can't do it with 30 people, we've got zero fucking chance with 15. And that is my experience with Blackwing Lair. 2 super smooth one-shot raids and 1 absolutely demonic one. But all is fun in World of Warcraft. Let's finish off our journey. The thing we really need to do now is continue adventuring around the World of Warcraft getting the runes. It's evening time now, and I head back to Thunderbluff and continue with a rune before I went to Blackwing Lair. This has us collecting pine cones off the floor. Now on max graphics it can be a pain to see, but the trick to collecting these is to go back to 2007, turn all your graphics to lower, well, environment details, and this way you can see everything on the ground much easier. After this we then have to buy a raw brilliant smartfish from the auction house, and we practice our dual wield by filleting it. This gives us dual wield and the rune of Lava Lash, a very good enhancement rune. Continuing off with the corrupted Fire Nova totem rune we looted earlier, it takes us to Moonglade. We speak to the keeper and he tasks us with heading to the lake, where we cleanse the corruption, and this gives us a rune of Fire Nova, a very strong AoE rune. While traveling the world, I'm constantly in a fight with a scumbag alliance on the boat. It's a war zone here, and while I'm very powerful, unfortunately they just have the numbers sometimes. But don't worry, I'll keep beating the shit out of them when I see them. I headed all the way back to the snowy zone of Winter Spring, where a few runes await us. As I head to a cave occupied by yetis, I see a level 60 warrior with a level 1 shaman. Yeah, a level 1. He asked me if I'm doing runes and I tell him yeah, so we team up, and I laugh at him being a level 1. And apparently this guy's the strongest level 1 the world has ever seen. Deep in the cave is an elite called Frigidar. We make very quick work of him and he gives us the extremely powerful rune of the Bound Spirit, giving you the ability to summon 2 feral spirits for 45 seconds. That is going to make this level 1 shaman insanely strong. We bid them farewell and continue our search. Heading further south we encounter a camp that's been ransacked by Moonkins. Here we can avenge the fall, oh wait, it's a dwarf camp, never mind. And we loot the rune of Frost specialization, giving frost spells more % chance to hit. Now back in episode 2 I got a quest item from the last boss of the raid, Black Fathom Deeps. This allows us to get a new rune, because it starts a quest called Elemental Distress, where we need to collect something called motes. This quest is going to be a massive pain in my arse, and I'll tell you why soon. As I'm leaving I thought I saw a random night elf chilling by a fire, and I was going to slaughter him. but it's just an NPC so he can live. We loot our first moat in a lake. Now, I had no specific order I was completing these runes. I was just adventuring around the world. In the zone of Searing Gorge while I was doing dailies, we can loot another book. Now you can see how powerful an elemental shaman really is. I end up pulling many orcs that are a pretty high level, and I thought I'd probably die, but with my gear and the toolkit of roots, AoE flame shocks, riptide healing, instant chain heals, and instant chain lightning, I must kill at least 10 orcs at once easily, showcasing just how strong we are. In the hut we can loot another book. This gives us a rune of axe specialization. These things just give you a little bit more weapon skill, so nothing too great for me, but a rune's a rune. I then head to Arathi Highlands to turn in the quest we picked up way back at Freewind Post earlier in the Thousand Needles. This has us take a rowing boat to a place I've never been to in WoW. We quickly kill a night elf who has glaives, and she's obviously cheating as they don't exist yet, and we get a key allowing us to open a chest and get a box containing another rune, the rune of Ancestral Awakening. This means if you critical hit a healing spell, you summon a spirit to heal them too, a nice little rune. While still in the Arathi Highlands, there's another book we can read and gain more knowledge, and of course a rune. In a little cove called Falde's Cove, there's some pirates that are friendly, and here we can get the rune of healing specialization, giving us a flat 26 extra healing on our spells. Next we head to the Deep Ellen Mine in a cave in the Silver Pine Forest, where another shaman is struggling to make his way through. I slaughter the cave and we get the Tempest icon here, but we need to hit 10 different enemies with frost, earth and fire spells, so we're definitely going to need higher level mobs to do this. So across the world in Winter Spring is where I start doing this. I cast Frost Shock, Lava Burst and Lightning Bolts to start building up inspiration. We need 10 stacks, so after killing many mobs, well, only 10, we're fully inspired, and by activating the Tempest icon, we learn the Rune of Water Shield, a very handy spell for the healers out there. So the quest we picked up in Ashenvale for the moats, we're now continuing. This takes us to Stone Talon Mountains, where we need to collect our last 2 moats. Now the first moat we need to get is of the Infernal Rage. We kill a fire elemental and it drops first try too, so I'm thinking the last one will be pretty easy to get right. Wrong. Very wrong. Oh so wrong. This can only drop from the enraged earth elementals here in the Charred Vale. They also share a spawn timer with practically every other mob here, and they have a very low % chance to drop it too. Fantastic. I'm not kidding you, I was here for hours upon hours trying to find this thing. Between not getting the mobs to spawn and when they did they didn't drop it, this shit was torture. Now when I'm going to do a dungeon, I get an invite for a summon, as if you pay 10 gold for a summon, people will summon you everywhere. It's the next day and I'm still searching for this goddamn moat. I see an enraged earth elemental and these are hard enough to find as it is, so I was happy to actually see one. I kill it and it finally drops the moat, but my inventory is full, and by the time I find an item to get rid of, the mob fucking despawns, and I get layered to my group slayer. Yes, after many hours and kills, I loot it, my bags are full, and I phase. I'm done. So I'm doing Scholomance for the Undermine reels or coins that I need. I need 50 of them to continue with a shield quest that I got from the raid. So I do a couple of dungeons and I end up with around 26 after doing both of them. After this I head straight back to the Charred Vale to start my long and boring farm all over again. The plus side is there's a lot of mithril here so I can mine it. Now while I'm mining, I can see I can loot an enraged stone spirit that I haven't killed. So I walk over to it and I can loot the moat. What the actual... So I asked the shaman here if he killed it and he says yeah he did. I asked did it drop and he says nah it didn't drop for him. I then tell him I just looted it. I mean I'm not complaining at this, I'll take it, so thank you very much Quiet Tank. So we go and hand in the quest thinking surely that's over. No, bring me an elixir of water breathing. So back to Orgrimmar we go. I sort of wish I did a bit of research into these quests to save me ping-ponging all over the place, but it's part of the journey I guess. And as you can see here, we've got over 700 goals, so we're nearly done with yet another milestone. I'll show you soon. We then go back to Ashenvale to turn in the elixir, and now we must drink it by a bonfire. Now I'm pretty stupid. I thought this cauldron was a bonfire. Yeah, shit you're not. Even though you can quite clearly see a bonfire in my screen. This then shows us a quill boar, and now we're tasked with gonna kill it. After heading to the southernmost part of the Barrens, when we arrive, the quill boar we need has already been killed. And I don't know much about the respawn timer, but I'm gonna guess it's probably long. I do my daily duties by reporting these hunters that are quite obviously bots. I then notice they're pathing for a certain mob, so I just keep killing it to waste their time even more. Then his wreck finally spawns in, allowing us to kill him, loot his staff, and finish up the quest. We then take the long path back to Ashenvale once more to turn it in, and this gives us a Rune of Earth Shield. Just like Water and lightning shield. This is a shield that heals you, so a very nice one too. Our next rune is going to have us quite literally travelling all over the world again, once more. It starts in Deadwind Pass first, where we head to a camp and we speak to a human, a Dalaran agent. She gives us an item, a trinket in fact, and we now have to hunt down Dark Riders. When we're in their presence, we get a buff allowing us to reveal these level 41 elites, who have quite a chunk of HP too, but it's no problem for Antijax, and we take down our first one of many to loot a relic. While travelling through Dustwood, I make my presence known in the Alliance town by slaughtering their whole village and everybody who gets in my path. The guards here do actually hurt though, so I have to sort of make a break for it in the end, but I inflicted terror on the poor town of Darkshire. At Ravenhill, we can encounter our second Dark Rider to kill him and get the glittering Dalaran relic too. Swamp of Sorrows holds the odd Dalaran relic, which we get from our third Dark Rider. Then across the world of Azeroth once more in the Badlands, I also slay 2 Alliance happily questing, because if you read, you're dead. I saw someone who was mad that I was killing low levels, but if I'm honest with you, I don't really care. We kill our 4th Dark Rider here and we loot the slippery Dalaran relic. While venturing the world, I go to our old shaman friend who helped us on our journey when we leveled to turn in another rune quest. He then tasks us with collecting 5 of each essence, wind, water and earth. And can you guess where these are? Yep, scattered all over the world too. With all this running, I am in desperate need of an upgrade on our wheels, or should I say pause. I continue doing the dailies and we kill a rare mob that drops a Mace of McGowan. I actually win this. I'm not sure how much it's worth on the auction house, but 5 gold to a vendor is 5 gold. After turning in all of my dailies, I have a total of 789 gold. I'm missing 11. So after checking my bank for items I don't need anymore and perhaps could sell, things like 2-handed weapons, we sell all of them. And we have a total of 804 gold, which means we can finally visit the wolf vendor and make our purchase of the horn of the Swift Timber Wolf for an extremely pricey 800 gold. And it took me many hours farming dungeons, items, dailies, but we can now move around the world at the speed of light. I am feeling so proud. The 40% difference is actually insane, trust me. This was one of my finest moments so far in SOD. In the Barrens, we can slay yet another Dark Rider who gives us a heavy Dalaran relic. With our now swift steed, we travel around the world at a much faster pace. I encounter a lowly Tauren warrior quest him, and I don't say anything, but I just open the trade window and give him a gold. He might not need it, or it could make his day, but I just like doing this. We then head to the desert land of Desolace once more, and here we can do a few things. One is kill our last Dark Rider, giving us a creepy Dalaran relic and a total of 7. And then we start looking for elementals. Now I heard these have a really shit drop chance, but honestly, we collect all 5 in around 7 kills, giving us 5 whirling essences. Then in Duskwallow Marsh, we have to kill some swamp monsters. After taking out a fair few of them, we collect 5 rushing essences. Honestly, having astral recall as an ability as a shaman has saved me so many hours doing this. A 15-minute cooldown on a second Hearthstone is so amazing. Mine is Booty Bay, as I find it easy to travel around the world that way. After collecting all of the relics, we go back to the Dalaran agent and turn them all in, giving us a small amount of gold, but I'll take what I can get as I'm broke. And the final turn-in gives us a supply bag, giving us a rune of 2-handed mastery, and a total of 33 out of 37. Apparently, we're nearly at the end, guys. 2-handed mastery seems very fun to use with Wind Fury, and maybe one day I'll give it a go. We head to the Badlands to collect our final essences, the Russian essence, and this was also very easy to collect, so I'm happy we didn't struggle like we did earlier with elementals. I buy myself a crystal vial up in Taran Mill as I know the next part of this quest requires one, and we head back to the shaman alone in the hut to turn in all of the essences, then our crystal vial immediately after. He then tasks us with going all the way back to the Thousand Needles. A quick snip and we're back there, where we talk to our Tauren friend and we get a final quest from him, the calm before the storm. We drink some Juju potion and ride on a wyvern straight into the heart of a storm, where some quillboars are worshipping some big water elemental that we easily kill, and we loot the Eye of the Tempest. I make sure to slaughter all of the quillboars too, so they can't keep doing their evil deeds. After turning it in, I'm expecting to finally be done, and nope. Back to the shaman in the mountains. Ugh. So another long travel later, we arrive back at our shaman friend. We give him the crystal and we finally get our rune. The Rune of the Storm, giving us Maelstrom weapon, a very strong enhancement rune, allowing your spells to be instant cast when you reach enough stacks. We then must travel to Grimbatol in the wetlands, where outside the door is a book. This book gives us a rune and mace specialisation for a total of 35. In Blackrock Mountain, we have to kill a couple of elite orc too. They have a bit of HP, but Antijax is a god of the elements, so we managed to take them out solo. Here we can loot another book, giving us a rune of defense specialisation. I also want to show you how unlucky I am with these timings. Sometimes they cost me to wait around for about 20 minutes. I completely miss a jump on the window to the boat, and that means you have to wait a while. I am pretty unlucky sometimes. The next day as I check my mail, I get a thank you from Blizzard as they banned a bot, and I'm pretty proud of myself, I must say. We then head all the way to Azshara, a zone I never spend much time in, and we travel the whole length of it. In the tucked away corner in a temple is our final rune, Book of the Pole Weapon Specialisation, giving us a total of 37 out of 37, or so I thought we were done. In the bug zone next to Ungoro Crater, the reason I'm not saying its name is because I don't know how to pronounce it, and I always feel like I'm saying an STD when I do. In a Twilight camp, we can learn a 38th rune of the Fist Weapon Specialisation. Then just a bit further south, we can learn our 39th and final rune, Dagger Specialisation. After many hours, much travelling, and a little bit of sanity lost, we have collected every single Shaman rune. Now the final thing for us to do on Antijax's journey into mastering Season of Discovery is to get our Shaman item and our best in slot shield. The item we looted earlier from Blackwing Descent. This requires us to farm out 50 undermine reels. Now finding a group was pretty rough, but I decided to just heal as an elemental shaman. I had all of the healing runes unlocked, so I just went for it. I mean, we did die once or twice, mainly due to overpulling, and I also had a red chest for most of these dungeons anyway, but we killed Baron Rivendare somehow. I had 36 reels in the end. We then go to the living side of the dungeon, and I needed on an item called Piccolo with a Flaming Fire, allowing us to make people dance by singing a song. After clearing the whole of the living side, we have a total of 42. We're still not quite enough, but nearly. I also very nearly maxed out my mining too, so that's both professions at 300. I then went and did a full clear of Lower Blackrock Spire, and as the last boss dies, we loot all of the reels we need, giving us a total of 52 and enough to continue with a final quest for Antijax. We then head to the Goblin in Booty Bay, who for 50 coins gives us a supercharged God Modifier. This allows us to get into Blackwing Lair with disguise. So by becoming a male goblin, we can walk right through the whole raid, although it does take a little while until we reach the Master of Elemental Crafts Crix. He then asks us to get him a power source for his device. Just behind Blackrock Stronghold, we can summon an elemental. Now I didn't realise how hard this little shithead would be. He fears you, casts Lava Burst for half of your health, and on top of that, he summons loads of little elementals that beat the shit out of you, and I die. I then die again. As I respawn, I notice somebody fighting them called Jazerka, and I ask him to invite me and he declines. So I attack the mob to help him, and we both get ported to Blackrock Mountain. I notice in my chat now something called the Cleaner says it's gotta be fought alone, but at the time I didn't notice it, so I just thought it was a bug and he was being toxic, not helping me. I race back to the elemental, and this time with precision and taking my time, using my totems and kiting out the earth elementals, we bring him down on our own, just barely by the way, and we loot the ever burning core. Now we head back to Blackwing Lair, this time as a girl goblin for some reason, and surely he doesn't suspect a thing, but we turn it in and he gets to work with a huge smile on his face crafting my item. We then get our best in slot shield, Terratris. It looks absolutely amazing, and it's got an insane passive too, that when we summon 4 totems of each elemental, we get a buff, things like 1% crit, spell damage, speed, and healing. It's insane. You can also cool the flames down, making it a tank shield if you very so much wanted. And with that, I think I'm going to say we mastered Season of Discovery. As I look out on the ocean as the sun sets, we've managed to acquire an epic mount, max out professions, collect every single rune in the game, collect a lot of our best in slot gear, and make some great memories too. The only blues I have left is my 2 trinkets that are really powerful, and I'm very happy with the progress we made, as Antijax can finally lay down his weapon and soak in the sun and await the next journey. A new hero calls, with more stories yet to tell. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new. I appreciate all of you watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the series. I've had a blast making it and your support has been incredible, so thank you once again. I just want to quickly showcase my add-ons. Now, a lot of you have constantly asked about add-ons, so I'm going to give a brief rundown of my add-ons, which ones I know and stuff, and hopefully it helps you guys out too. So to start off with, probably one of the most asked about ones is Narcissus. This add-on just allows you to see your character, it kind of rotates, it looks cool, see your gear, your stats and things like that. and you can change out your gear, and it just gives a brief rundown. It's a really nice add-on, and it looks really cool too. Second, we have Atlas Loot. Just shows you all the bosses and stuff and where you get loot from, etc. The next one is Classic Stats. Now this shows you like gear score and item level, I think. I think that's about it. Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Is that the one? Obviously you have DBM. Now that shows if like you're doing dungeons or bosses, you know, their encounters and stuff like that. Then you have Bagnon, which combines all your backpacks into one, makes it pretty easy to search through them, etc. And you can check other characters. Then you also have this little thing here called I Spy. Where is it? I think it's called I Spy. Yeah, Spy, and it just shows you if Alliance or Horde players are nearby. We have this add-on here with the number there called Details. That shows you how much damage you're doing. I also have Questy, which shows you like quests on your map, the locations. Rare Scanner is another one, and this just shows you rares on the map and their locations. What else am I missing? Leatrix Plus. So this just lets you manage. I just use this for buffs. You can drag around your buffs here, so I move them a bit lower. You can move them where you like. There's other things to this too, but I don't really use them. For my... I have Auctionator as well. Helps you out of auctions. Big debuffs, so you can see big debuffs. We've talked about the stats. Classic cast bars. Now this is just so your enemies, when you can see, because in Classic you can't see what they're casting, but in this game, if you use this add-on, then you can. Bear with me, I'm not very good at explaining add-ins. Details, yeah, click links, self-explanatory. Someone posts a link, you can click it. Dark mode, this is also what people ask. Dark mode is what it says on the tin. It just makes all your bars and your frames in that dark. Dialogue is a new add-on I'm trying out, so I don't know what it does yet. Gargle is a loot add-on, so if people are soft reserving and stuff, you want this. Looking for group bulletin board shows you what people are advertising. So if I type /1, look for them. Sunken Temple, even though I'm not. I should, pop up here that I'm looking for them. Sunken Temple. Oh, one sec. While I'm showing you my add-ons, I have to, you know, still do my duties. We have Questy, we've got Loot Reserve, which also does that. I think that might be everything. One sec, let's just kill this alliance. I'm sorry, but you have to die. Let's go back to it. Yeah, so there you go. There's Spy once again, showing that Marmers, I have 1 wins versus her and 0 losses. The rest of the add-ons, totem timers. So this just shows you all of my totems down here. I can easily choose between them. It also shows me my lightning shield charges and flame weapon if I have flame weapon up, so they don't run out. And that is about it for add-ons. I can't remember which one shows my class colours. Let me see if I can find that for you as the last one, because I don't want to make this video any longer than it has to be. Add-ons, where do we have it? It's none of these. Watch training, that's another one I forgot. That just shows you what's upcoming and learning. Vendor price shows you the vendor price. Weak auras, I don't really use it in SOD, even though I did. Class color HP bar, that is what it is. Class color HP bar. So that is it for all my add-ons, guys. I might have missed one or two. If I did, let me know in the comments below and I will try and reply to you. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.